2023 Planning Board, calling to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty.
Present.
The Secretary is here. Board Member Catalinato.
Present.
Board Member Mutu.
Present.
Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Fulham, I gather, is stuck in traffic.
She'll be a little late. Okay, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Minutes. William.
Yes, we have March 9 and March 23.
March 9 and 23, may I have a motion to adopt? Motion by Dennis, second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. I will close the afternoon session and go into a work session. And that is Conscience Point Shellfish Hatchery on North Sea Road. I told them that I have to identify this for the minutes, and so
Yes,
Shannon said, not only the name of the application, but give the address.
yeah, this,
If I forget,
yeah.
remind me.
It was really,
Yes, please,
it was really awful when I was watching it.
yeah.
How are you? See you.
So give us your name for the record.
Mark Matthews, 223 Shore Road, Southampton, New York.
Okay, thank you. Claire, do you want to give us any kind of a bit of an overview here?
Yeah, so the planning board did look at this a couple years ago. They were doing some outdoor storage and fencing and things on the property. So now they want to do an addition to an existing shed that they have on the property and upgrade their sanitary system. So that's reflected on that site plan provided. Mark, do you want to speak to it? Any?
Sure. It isn't actually upgrading the sanitary system. There isn't one.
There is
So
none.
There is no septic system on
You
the
did-
property now, so we want to install.
There was no bathroom before.
That's right, there still isn't, which is a little hard for us to deal with in the wintertime and the fall, and when the marine is not open. That is. So we'd like to put the system in and also run a water line in. That would allow us to make ice rather than buy ice. And ice, as you probably suspect, is a key component of keeping oysters safe. They gotta be iced right away. And now we run down to the hardware store to buy ice, which is not a good use of time or money.
No, no.
So that plus a little more storage is what we need. Probably the most important thing to recognize is that the fences that are on the property now, within which we store our overwinter goods or bags or things like that, they're not moving at all. They're not going any further toward the rice bins, so they're, in fact, that's important because we're sensitive to the fact that people have for generations launched and parked their boats and trailers in that parking lot, going down the
That is a
truck.
town launch site.
It is owned by the Southampton History
Historic
Museum,
Museum.
but historically, the trustees have had a lease on that property. They don't at the moment, but they will again. But it is a launch, a very good launch area.
Yeah, I put my kayak in there.
Yes, quite a few people do there.
Do we have a site plan, Claire, that, with all of this on it?
Yeah, that's what the little plan is, it's all engineered, this one right
I
here.
brought a larger one if
Oh,
you'd like
good.
to have it.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Kate
you.
Fulham is here.
yes.
So this is the drawings that Squire Holden and Ed Armis did. And you can see up there the site plan. You see Conscience Point Road on your left. And you can see the septic system laid in there.
Comply with wetland setback?
It does not, but Mark preemptively has been speaking to Marty about the installation, and I think he would, right, you've been speaking
Yes,
to Marty about it.
I
And Marty
made-
would refer to, we would do a wetlands application, and we would do a referral to the Conservation Department.
How many feet, do we know how many feet we're short?
I thought it does say that, right? About 100? What does this look like? This is the 100-foot setback, right?
This is the 100-foot wetland, so this dashed
Yeah.
line here.
So it's almost 100
so
feet.
All of the,
Yeah.
all of the leaching is more than 100 feet.
Okay,
So that's the key part. The septic tank is not, it's more like 75, but the leaching,
with the ring and all that.
then it wouldn't be.
Well, then
rings.
that would be the IA.
Yeah, the geomats actually
Yeah.
in this case, but
Yeah.
we managed to position them in the best possible area, which is furthest from the water, so we did that.
Well, that's good.
And you have enough ground to water?
Just
Depth?
barely, just barely.
Barely, yeah.
We had test holes dug and done all of that, and Ed did a good job with the engineering on it, and so
You
I
don't have
think.
laundry facilities on the site?
No,
So this is really just for a bathroom and some running water to make ice?
that's right, and well, we use running water to, clean the equipment, we raise oysters, so everything's gotta be clean.
Right.
We've got about 3 million of them over there now.
Growing nicely?
Yes,
Yes,
so
good.
far, we grow algae to feed them.
I've
Good.
eaten quite a few from there.
Oh, good, yeah, they were really good last year.
Yes. One of my friends has a,
A CSA?
CSA.
Yeah, good.
And you get health department approval on that?
Yes, we're in the health department, we're already in the DEC, so we have to go through everybody.
Right.
And that's, and just so you know, we've also, as part of this, we've met with Jackie at CPF about perhaps getting some money there to help us do our mission of cleaning the water, which is, when it's all said and done, that's why we're doing this. So, and she's very receptive to that.
Is it a nonprofit, Laura?
Yes,
It
it's
is.
a 501c3 nonprofit, has been for 10 years. We've been doing this for 10 years.
Great. So,
So I think they've already gotten their fees waived too, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so it would be a site plan wetlands permit with us.
Okay.
They can submit it and we'll process it.
good.
Hearing or no hearing, what do you think? It is underground, so.
the only nearby houses are the Reismans, and
Reisman,
Howard
they're
told me
par-
on Tuesday that he was not opposed.
Well, at the meeting last night, he was very helpful, and we'll be working down there Saturday together.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah.
very involved in this, both Howard. Howard's very involved in this, and Ann is very involved with me in the
In the top-
Maritime Center.
in the top of
so-
Odd House,
so-
yeah.
So maybe it's just a 30-day written comment period.
Yeah, it's,
That'd be
it
fun.
may be required with the wetlands permit, let me double check that.
Okay.
But, yeah, if you're inclined, we
Okay.
can say that, okay?
So you know what your next steps are, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Susanna Herman will make the application for her.
Okay,
She's donating
great.
her time
But
to
we're
do that.
supportive.
Great, well, thank you very much.
Great.
Would you like to keep this drawing?
Yeah, let them review that with 5, that'd be great. Thanks.
Good luck, have a good growing season.
Thank you. Come and get some.
Okay. Okay, so we're out of the work session, and we are now into regular session.
Oh, it's me.
And that's you, Claire, that's the Southampton Day Country Day Camp.
I don't see Wayne Bruin yet.
I don't
so
either,
I
shall we
would-
skip over it?
Yeah, let's skip over that,
And go to Lewis Road?
yes.
Okay.
This is pretty pro forma, again, it's Wayne Bruin's project, but this is to hire the consultant to review the IT HMP. That was one of the conditions of the site plan approval. And it'd be, in this case, it'd be Marty Petrovic for $1,500.
Yeah. And is that sufficient, do you think? Is that enough?
Yes,
And he has specifications, right? He-
yes.
You certainly don't want to do it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's, any discussion on
This would be to
that?
hire Marty Petrovic to review the IT HMP.
Right.
Motion?
Let me just
Oh.
state what I have to state what the application is and the address now, so that we have a record
Oh,
for
okay.
minutes and everything. So this
Okay.
is South Lewis Road site plan,
Yes.
and it is to hire Marty Petrovic, a Hamlet of East Quogue.
Correct.
Okay.
Claire, when I was watching the minutes so I could approve them, because I wasn't here, there were 5 or 6 applications where the only identification was the number, and the agenda the agenda on the website that did not match the one that was being used, which happens all the time. So when somebody is watching it online, they have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
So going forward, I will give the name of the application and the address,
Oh, perfect.
so it's clear.
Yes.
Okay, so a motion to approve this,
Motion.
motion by Gloria,
Second.
second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Do you want to move on, Claire, to your Atlantic Golf Club staff housing?
Yeah, so this is, as you know, there was some history to this. I'll just give a summary, and if you want me to, I can read it
Yes.
into the record. This is, the resolution is to rescind the previous resolution as it was determined by the ZBA. It is not a customary accessory use. It is a separate use. The town board, and you gave feedback, adopted new regulations. So they know that they have to come back for a new site plan for staff housing for the Atlantic Golf Club. So this would be to rescind the one that was issued back in 2021.
They have to start a whole new application.
They do. They do. I mean, it would be up to you, because we have obviously a pre-submission report, it wasn't too long ago, to either start at the site plan special exception, or if you start again at the pre-submission, that would be up to the planning board.
This is now second use, right?
It is another use that has a special exception criteria
Right.
to it, yes.
So we want two actions here, right? We want to rescind first?
Well, no, just rescind.
Just
because
rescind.
There's no fresh application
Okay,
pending, but this would be to clean up the record, rescind the approval.
right, okay.
It is
so-
a valid site plan as of this moment, yes. This would be to rescind it.
Okay, any more discussion on it? So motion to rescind the prior approval of, let me get the right, Atlantic Golf Club Staff Housing, Hamlet of Bridgehampton, 1040 Scuttle Hole Road. Okay, motion by Craig, second by Gloria, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
Do you want me to jump back to Southampton?
Wayne is here, yeah. Yes, this is number 2. This is the Southampton Country Day Camp, 665 Majors Path, site plan application. Wayne, do you want to come up?
So just a little history.
Please.
This was adopted in March 12th, 2020, and this was a site plan approval. That site plan was valid for 2 years, so last year they requested an extension of the approval in March of 2022, and at the time you gave them 2 years, 1 year to complete the site plan. At the time, this is then passed, it expired in March, because I didn't receive any request for an extension, but they've now come forward. The letter specifies a request for reapproval of the site plan. Not much of the, I would describe as middle of, some of the work has been done on the property. I don't know how much myself, I've not been out there, nobody's asked me to do an inspection.
I passed by this morning,
Mm-hmm,
and there's roads in,
okay.
and this further south road, there seemed to be an awful lot of blacktop, so there's definitely work going on.
Activity, and I've spoken to the town engineer, and he's up to date on his inspections.
Okay.
Which is good, that's progressing. So I asked, when Wayne requested the extension, I also asked him to put in writing what's been done so far, and what needs to be done, just so you can get a handle and the time frame needed to complete the site plan. Site plans do take a while. There's definitely ones that are still being extended, smaller ones than these ones. But, so the applicant's here, just to give you an update, so get your opinion on whether it should be extended and for how long, the reapproval. Okay?
Wayne, do you want to come up? As Claire said, we haven't been to the site, and staff hasn't been to the site.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
just
that's
drove
an-
by on my way back from the
Yeah,
village this
so,
morning.
so it's an important, trip. And Claire was good enough to send the approval. Yeah, we've got the,
Did you send my letter with the list?
Yes.
yeah, we have that, Wayne. And so some stuff was done, right, no doubt. But there's a very lengthy list of conditions in the original approval. Yeah.
And all of those have to be complied with before the COs are issued, but I apologize because for some reason we have this calendar as a normal 2-year, but realized after the fact that it was only a 1-year extension. Nonetheless, various building permits are being issued, various work has been done. I gave you a list of that. Two swimming pools were finished, and certain IA systems were installed, fences. And as you can see from the street, what was required is formalization of the entry, but more importantly, the exit was to be relocated further to the south. That was all accomplished. The entrance to the tennis court parking area and that whole parking area was totally redone, stabilized, and gravelled. So
That's
a
what,
lot
I
of
think
that-
that's what I saw this morning. There was a guy behind me, so I couldn't, I know, I saw a lot of flat gray.
Yeah, that's all bluestone
Okay.
gravel, so. So all that work has been finished, and what actually prompted this was the applicant was submitting building permits for additional, like a fence and some other minor thing, which they've been doing themselves, not through our office. And however, because it's an LLC, they needed an opinion letter for the building inspector as to who can sign on behalf of the LLC, and we normally provide that because we know who's authorized to do so. So when that happened, they went to the building inspector, and the building inspector then said, well, where's your planning approval? And then it prompted Claire to say, well, wait a minute, we're
Right.
out of date.
Right, right.
So that's what prompted everything, and what I did ask Claire to do is find a date in the near future so that she can actually go out there and see for herself the progress. As she indicated, the town engineer has been there periodically making all the inspections that are necessary, so there hasn't been any issues. So there are certain things, improvements that were related to the buildings, which they're doing not on all at once, but, so there's certain things they're not going to do until the fall. So they will need that time. Claire talked to me, we're gonna look at certain aspects of the ADA compliance, make sure all that is in place, and perhaps that could be accelerated, but I'm not exactly sure when our clients gave us this list what that was specifically about. I think it's modifications to the one building, and they're gonna do that all at once as opposed to, but we would ask that you reapprove this so that they can complete all these and all the conditions that are necessary.
Right. Well, I would really be reluctant to do that until Claire gets there with this
Do that in
list.
the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I'd love to come with you so that we can get a better understanding. It is a long list and it's a detailed list and more than your list. So I think it behooves us to, before we do anything, just take a look here.
Mhm.
And I know, well, they open up in May, right?
No,
Is that what they're
not
shooting
until
for?
June.
June?
Yeah,
They're June?
It only runs from the end of school to,
Beginning of school.
yeah,
Yeah,
the beginning of school. So they're looking to get, as you see in the second part of my list, there are certain things, including all that entrance, exit, all that driveway work is ongoing and going to be completed, but they were hoping to do some exit gates. That was one of the permits. The other was a couple of the changing sheds that they were supposed to renovate, and so they were waiting to get that permit, to get that completed before the summer as well.
do they have the SWIP in place? SWIP?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, that would be the town engineer.
yes.
I would just like to comment on the ADA compliance, concrete pathways around camp. If there's a way to do permeable pathways, that would still be ADA compliant, rather than putting non-permeable.
I don't recall concrete, do we?
Well, that's what it says.
I know that's what it
Yeah, I'm
says,
ju-
but
I'm just-
again,
that-
this was the characterization that came from our client, to tell us the status, and I'm not sure that is
What actually
accurate,
is.
but we can look at it. But
Yeah.
it wasn't concrete through the entire site.
Yeah, I bet it,
And it doesn't make any sense.
The ramps, right?
I think it's probably the ramp areas have to be that kind of stabilized.
Okay, any other comment? Claire, you'll let us know when you want to go out and you can
Yes.
coordinate that with Wayne?
Yes, I'm
Great,
here.
okay, thank you,
And,
Wayne.
Then we'll put it on for the 27th and see
Yeah.
what the.
And so, you're not, only one or two of you, right, or want to go on the inspection with
Well,
Claire?
I'd like to go with Claire.
Right.
Yeah, maybe.
Not the whole board?
No, no, no,
Okay.
I'm
no.
gonna be away,
Yeah.
otherwise I
Maybe
would
one other
go.
person, but that's it.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
No,
let
no,
Claire
no,
coordinate
it's not
with you,
that- not a
and we'll get you
posse.
out there as soon as possible.
great, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
So no action.
No action.
No action.
Rules are doing this.
Okay, that's over there. Let's see. So we've done one, we've done two, three.
And electric.
4 is the next one, topic we're doing them and agenda order.
I think Anthony wanted to, do you have? What have you got, Claire?
Want to do CVS?
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
I have a ZBA, so maybe I can leave those to the end. You want?
yeah, you're all right? Okay. Yes, let's go to 13 CVS,
Page
Hampton,
66.
Hampton Bays, 125 West Montauk Highway.
I'm gonna do that, but there's no applicant here, so I'll push it towards the end. Pick
Okay.
the applicants here first. Does that make sense?
Yep,
So just to recap, and Chris Kent's here, if you wanna have him come up to
yeah, sure,
answer any
please.
questions.
Yeah.
We had a discussion on the traffic at the last meeting, and you directed me to prepare the secret documents for the CPS based upon the traffic information, the reports that were submitted. And this, going through that this couple weeks, I put together the documents. So do you want me to go through the part 2 first, and then we can get to the narrative? Does that make sense to you? This is the
Yeah.
resolution for the adoption, if you're inclined to do
Okay.
this. This is the aerial.
Okay, I just
This
wanna-
is the situation where we're gonna coordinate the 2 sites.
Right.
Take the 2 entrances, make them one, and then have the coordination where they both can use with cross-access the 2 parking lots for the project. So that's that. This is the site plan that's gonna be for the consideration. And this is the part 2. So in the part 2, I've identified impact on lands, with small to moderate. So I have an explanation in the part 3, which actually I have to.
And maybe we could just jump to the part 3 when you
Oh,
have
sorry.
that so that we
And I
can.
have it. I have it in a written form for you. So let me give it to you.
Okay, because it's not in here, right?
No, it's not.
I didn't see the part 3 either online.
Right. I
Okay.
gave it to you Tuesday.
It was in an email a couple of days ago.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
okay.
emailed it to you on Tuesday. Here's your copies.
Thank you. I'm looking at,
Oh, you have it
Well,
online?
it's
I
a
have it
paper
on-
copy for you.
well,
Do you have,
They're coming down.
Come down.
okay.
Head my way.
yeah, and my allergies are just.
Do you want me to read the corresponding part 3?
Yes, yeah.
As we do it?
that-
Okay, great.
I think that makes sense, Claire.
Okay. So I've identified no large issues, it's small to moderates, and I say the planning board finds potentially small to moderate impacts on land resources. The project is for the reuse of the 14,888 square feet of existing building currently utilized as a movie theater. The remainder units of the Brock building will remain the same. The site received approval for a total of 31,458 square feet, but only 27,758 square feet were constructed. Applicant will abandon on future expansion of the building, will abandon the future expansion. This was from the pre-submission reports, so
Okay.
I'm just reiterating that. The applicant is proposing to redesign the parking access to coordinate to the commercial property to the east and connection to Good Ground Road. Traffic study was prepared by VHB, updated September 16th, 2022, I'm sorry. Let me correct that. And then I say see transportation below for reference. Interior landscaping will be required to meet the town code 33099J. I think they've got it, I just want to make sure it's in there, just in case. And then suggest land banking a portion of the spaces in the front to allow for pedestrian circulation. So maybe a little bit more pedestrian circulation on the plans. Landscaped areas, buffers are indicated on the site plan. Any questions or additions? Impact on lands?
I'm just looking to see, I'm going to make one request, I just don't know what we spoke about, Claire, what area it would be in.
If it's related to the walkway, I guess it would be the entrance in the rear. It
Yeah.
might be transportation, because
Okay,
you want
so
to
what-
access the parking in the back, and it may be aesthetics, because you want maybe the back of the building to be
Okay,
improved.
so when we
So
get
that would be
that-
the next one, aesthetics. So there's no impact on, I'm just gonna go through it. No impact on geological features. Number 2, 3, impact on surface waters, no. Impact on groundwater, no. Impact on flooding, no. Impact on air, no. I mean, this is a reuse of existing buildings, so there's a
Right,
lot of things
right.
that are not applicable. No impact to plants and animals, and no impact on agricultural resources. And here's the aesthetic resources. I do say yes. The building is substantially staying in its current state with minor renovations to the entrance doors and with additional windows. Building elevations with the three front windows were submitted at conference, which indicated no blockage of windows with opaque film. Recent CDS buildings on Long Island have a majority of the windows blocked with opaque film, which is not in keeping with the community character. So that, again, is from the pre-submission report, and I wanted to make sure it was in here. So here, do you want to say, want to
Yeah.
speak about your issue?
Yeah, so, once again, we're looking at a rear exit, and I know there's been a lot of resistance. I refer you to Marshall's in the Bridgehampton Commons, where there was also resistance to an entrance and exit in the rear. It's installed, happily installed, being used without issue, and certainly friendly to customers, and provides for a very consistent traffic flow of both people and cars. And so I'm making a request, again, that you seriously consider it. Now, I know the reason that you gave us was that the pharmacy was there. Well, there's pharmacies in the rears of stores all over. Rite Aid, I believe, might have one. I think we were talking about one.
Rite Aid has the 2 entrances.
Two
in
entrances,
West
right.
Hampton Village.
And so it would bring a certain amount of practical flow to the rear of that building as well. And aesthetically, maybe you could do, rather than having cinder block, which is so pronounced when you come up Springville, that maybe there could be some lattice work, some painting on it, whatever. So that's my feeling about a rear
During
entrance.
the early discussions of the application, we were thinking maybe doing an enclosed walkway promenade. If you can picture starting at the rear parking lot, an enclosed promenade to bring clients to the front. And even if you had the west side all glass, it could be quite a display area, because you'd be able to display products and, as they're walking from the rear to the front, and then you'd have the one entrance in the front. It would allow circulation to the back parking lot. I think it was discussed, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
and-
discussed at
and-
several meetings,
And
and-
Marshall's actually put in a walkway for us, so that people, if they park in the rear, because it's extra parking, it's nice parking. You then can walk on the walkway and then get to the front if you want the front, or to go into,
Well, it allows
Yeah.
for one entrance
Yeah.
in the front, but it
Yeah.
allows people to park in the back.
exactly.
I have a fairly significant concern with that as a woman, walking in a narrow corridor and nobody else might be there, that I probably would never use it, because I'd be afraid that there might be somebody hanging out.
With
And be
glass
accosted?
and cameras, really?
Yeah.
Well, if you look over by Francesca's, there's a similar type of like connectivity to on-street parking. If you
Yeah.
park on Montauk Highway and then you go through the little gate down the brick pathway, you
Right,
can come
right,
to
yeah.
Francesca's. So I think it's, the design needs to be
'Cause-
open enough
yeah, 'cause
that
I
it
have this
works,
feeling that
and
it's
it
gonna be
creates
this
more of a
alleyway.
walkable community,
No,
I
I
think
don't
is
think
really
you
what
want an
we're
alley.
looking for,
No,
and
it
like the
wouldn't be an
flow
alley.
from
Not an alley.
different
I know what
areas
you
of
mean.
parking.
Yeah, I guess I know that normally the pharmacy is in the very back.
Yes.
Is it possible that it could be, if the two entrances are on, say, the east side, and then the pharmacy is in the corner, on the total other side of the building, maybe that gets the pharmacy, it changes what I guess the normal floor plan is, which might be a challenge, but it eliminates the idea that somebody could grab something from the pharmacy and get out the door fast.
I mean, that's how right here, or Walgreens in West Hampton is set up right there. The two entrances go right in front of where the checkout counter is, and the pharmacy is all the way to the
Yeah.
other side.
The issue now, you're raising other pharmacies, so Rite Aid doesn't have any parking in the front, they're on a sidewalk, and same with the store in West Hampton Beach, also on a sidewalk, the parking is all in the rear, and the only parking is in the rear, so this is different. The parking mostly is in the front of CVS. This was brought up for over a year's time, I think we discussed this, and I had lots of conversations with CVS, and they were not willing to do this, so.
So maybe you can talk to them again.
I will talk to them
Maybe
again.
I guess we're saying we're not happy.
I just want to tell
Because
you,
it's
we're on a
practical.
very,
I realize you're on a time frame.
well, not
but-
only on a time frame, we're at a very, kind of at a precipice right now where this could completely go over the cliff and CVS could end up walking away, and that would not be good for anyone because I think the movie theaters either closed already or about to close.
But I can't imagine that a rear exit is going to topple a plan, because it's done. You know, it's not like it's a unique idea.
I
It's
understand.
done in many places, and you do have rear parking back there. You've got quite a few
about
spaces.
the
We also
Promenade
have
idea.
dumpsters back there, and we have mechanicals back there.
Yeah,
and-
but.
What about the promenade idea?
I mean, that's what we came with. We kind of had an idea of maybe doing something almost outside the building along a western wall.
Covered walkway?
But we're also an interior store. We're not on the end of the shopping center.
Right, but,
We're
so,
not
I
on
mean, there's
either
no
end.
threat to like no pharmacy service in Hampton Bays. You have Rite Aid, you have Stop and Shop. But
Right.
the advantage, and to your point, of CVS coming to a small hamlet that needs some aesthetic oomph added into it, is that there is some funding behind it to add value to the community.
Right.
And I think that that's the pitch that I would make to CVS, is that, you know, coming in, there's an opportunity to be the store that people want to go to, even though there are other options, because you're adding value to the community in a prominent area right along the main street. So.
Are you aware what's going on in the healthcare industry right now with Aetna?
Yeah.
CVS acquired
Required to-
Aetna. So this is going to probably become more of a health center type of, not a health center, but it'll be a pharmacy, but they'll also be providing more services.
Good, then you need a rear entrance.
I will go back to them. I'm not arguing for a rear entrance. I will go back to them. It's not my call on that.
I understand
can't
that.
convince them to do that if they will
But-
not do it. And I could see, because of where we are in the process, and they've been waiting so long, we had to totally renegotiate the agreement. I'm going to have to renegotiate the agreement on the cross-access, because that's been a long time also.
But that's done, isn't it?
It's done, but the
Yeah.
agreement is coming close to an expiration point, so, now you're going back, so we have to revise floor plans, we'd have to revise site plans we're going back to something that we discussed in 2020. And it's very difficult for us to go back and revise all these plans again. We've already revised them for the cross-access, we revised them for the landscaping up along Montauk Highway, we've now revised them for the two entrance and exits onto Springville Road with boxes, and we're doing revisions to the intersection and the signalized
No,
intersection. which is Springville.
it's all great, but
Well, you're asking us for another few months of revised plans.
I don't think, how long would
Okay.
it, Claire, how much of a revision is that necessary?
It's interior, right?
Well, your interior stuff is your interior, you know, I mean, I don't know.
Interior and exterior.
Yeah, but your interior design, I mean, we don't know what your interior design is,
We're going to be
That's up to
showing those
you.
soon, because we're going to have a public hearing, we're going to have to submit floor plans and all the rest of that to you.
Give it a shot, we understand.
I will try,
Yeah.
I will try,
But we want this to move forward. We understand the tenuous nature of it.
yes.
What is their primary reason for pushing back on a rear entrance? Is it?
Well,
is
they
it
told me
the
it's not
floor
their
plan?
model, and
It's not their model.
it's not something they want to have, because their pharmacy's in the rear of the store, and
Mhm.
that's the way they design all their CVS's. If you go to
Mhm.
Riverhead or some of the other CVS's, pharmacy's in the back, there's no entrance or exit near the pharmacy,
Yeah.
and it's a problem for them. And
Mhm.
we had, this was discussed before you were on the board. This was discussed over many meetings.
Mm.
I know we discussed it, we're taking just another shot. It's our job to do that.
Understood?
And I like
understand.
Kate, I like Kate's thinking that this is an added value. I mean, you are coming to a community.
Understood.
And make it easy for people, you know?
Understood.
And particularly somebody parks in the rear, you know, and it's pouring rain. What do? I mean,
Park in the front.
it's not consumer friendly, but it's
Well,
not
there's
very
100, there's
consumer
100,
friendly.
most of the spaces of the 150 spaces, or whatever the exact number is, that is on the site, are in the front of the store.
Do you know how many are in the rear?
Not that many. Not very many.
I believe there's a CVS in Sayville, right?
There is a
That-
CVS in Sayville.
And that has front and rear.
I'd have to look, I don't know, Sayville off the top of my head. I know Riverhead,
Yeah.
I know the pharmacies in West Hampton Beach.
Yeah.
I
I was
know
trying to
Rite
think
Aid in
through
Hampton
stores.
Bays has,
Yeah.
I mean, you say front and rear, but the front entrance is on a sidewalk. There's no parking in the front.
Yeah.
All the parking's in the back. Rite Aid in West Hampton Beach, the front entrance is on a sidewalk
Mm.
in the back. CVS in West Hampton Beach is a front entrance only. It's on Sunset,
Yeah.
is that correct? Sunset? There's no rear entrance there. It's on, it's in a little strip center with other stores. The back is an alleyway with deliveries.
Right.
And that's what the back of this store is. I know this has a larger parking area in the back, but it's mostly for deliveries, fire access, which I think we've talked about, dumpsters, mechanicals, all of that is in the rear behind the store. I will take it back to them, I will talk to them again. I exhausted this conversation with them 3 years ago, I will try again.
I mean, I'm a firm believer in two ways, in and out. You have a fire in the pharmacy area and you've got customers, what do they do?
I believe there is an exit door, but it's one of those
So-
panic, it's a panic bar door.
Okay,
Emergency exit.
Yeah,
But-
it's not an entrance for the public.
it's,
It's an exit for the public if there's a fire, but it's not an entrance into the store.
How many spaces are in the rear of the building?
he didn't know, do
I
we
don't know
know?
off the top of my
It's
head.
about 40.
40, it's not a minuscule amount, it's substantial, 40 spaces.
I think it's a real enhancement, because
I
knowing
do
the traffic
too.
patterns on Springville Road, you want to avoid that intersection, especially the front of that parking lot. And now with that cross access being established, you can get
You
in,
want the
convenience
rear.
items, get out, cross access, you're out of the mess, back on good
You
ground.
want the rear utilized, you know what we're saying? I mean, we look at lots of
I
site,
know what
we
you're
look at
saying.
lots of site plans, and we're
And-
always looking at circulation, and we're looking about how
I
to
hear you
move in
100%.
and out, and so the
You sell-
value, it
sell
adds
value,
value
yeah,
to
value.
the cross-access as
Yeah.
well.
It's value.
I took the notes down. I will raise that with them.
And I think, I just want to point out that there was a revision to, zoom in a little bit if you can see this. So, to Dennis's point, is that they have provided a formal walkway on the west side. I don't know if it's covered, I can't tell if it's covered, but it's now, they have a sidewalk right up against the building, which has been informally used and no longer grass in that area. So that is an
there
advantage.
an
Maybe
opportunity?
have it covered. And
There
it's not far from these spaces to go around and come into the entrance, so.
But that's a separate store between CVS.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a-
There's
this
a liquor shop, I
is
think, right?
liquor
Yeah, it's another
and
shop.
Dunkin' Donuts and the restaurants. I think there's the three of them right here.
Is the east side too tight for a walkway?
This,
Yeah.
there's a walkway shown. That is a walkway also.
I know it's very constrained there, they've got the retaining wall.
Well, there's going to be a bigger entrance, it's gonna be two-way, which I think now is pretty tight here.
Yeah.
Because they're going on the other property, so there is a walkway that's proposed on the east side also.
There's also a pedestrian crosswalk, which, and that was another question I was going to ask about the 0 lumens at the property line. I don't know if we want that, since there's a cross-access. You might want some lighting on that pedestrian walkway.
Uh-huh.
Along
That's a good
there,
point,
where
yeah.
No, no, no,
walkways
no.
goes
Yeah,
On the
not
east
on
side.
Other
Springville.
side, east side?
See, you can see the crosswalk
Yeah,
Oh,
right there.
Right there?
There's a crosswalk that goes across for
Oh, yes, and
pedestrians
there's
to connect.
crosswalk
To
there,
Hamlet Green.
yep.
I would think you'd want that lit, not,
With bollards, maybe?
well,
Some bollards?
Well, it's across the
Yeah,
road.
you
To
won't-
define,
You could have some, you do need
Some decorative lighting there or something, you know, maybe
Lighting, yeah,
lamppost
you are gonna
type.
need lighting.
yeah, lamppost.
Maybe
Well,
something-
we have the ability to modify that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know it was something that was in the EAF, and I saw that in some conditions, but something decorative that's maybe consistent with what you're planning for Hampton Bays as part of the overlay, if you're gonna be doing lighting in Hampton Bays, maybe
Yeah.
something similar to what you're putting to be, have a consistent lamppost.
well, look at all that parking in the rear. It's a lot of parking.
That is.
That's not, doesn't look like that right now, but, you know, we're talking about improving it, yes.
This isn't.
Well, I mean, there's pretty, not very nice back there. I don't know
No,
if you-
the whole rear of CVS needs, you know, their healthcare, it should really be fluffed up.
Well, I will
you
talk
know?
to them about it again, I'm telling you I will, but
There isn't
I've
an
already,
employee entrance or anything in the back, is there?
that's what it is, we really, it's
There is.
employees for Leslie Pools and the restaurant, the Italian, the liquor store, the Dunkin' Donuts, I think is there. So that's really what's back there is the employee parking.
Is there an employee entrance for the CVS, or will there be?
There might be
I'm
a
just
door.
wondering,
that
is
you
that
could-
gonna end up being the parking for the employees back there?
I think that's what we designed it for, yes. I think
And
it's
how do
what
they
it's
get
on.
in?
There's probably, there might be a door with a security.
Another door.
Same.
It could be the same door as the emergency exit, but you might, I
Maybe
I don't
key
know
fob.
exactly. Yeah, there could be a key fob entrance with, for employees. And I don't know what Leslie Pools does now, or Dunkin' Donuts, or, but we could find out.
Well,
We could
they're
take a look at it.
small-scale operations, they're small.
Don't say that to the pizzeria guy. Thinks he's got a big business there.
That's not Francesca, no, Francesca's
No.
the other,
This
the
used to be
other
John's.
punk
Is
rock.
it still John's?
What's that?
Used to be John's Pizzeria. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's still John's.
All right, so you've got our message, you have our request from a planning standpoint, an
Counting.
added value.
Okay,
So any
Now
changes
it's
to
up to
this
you.
section, or no, we'll just leave it and have
Well,
it be a site plan issue
con-
in the
con-
process?
I think customer circulation,
Okay.
and whether we put it in transportation.
Transportation, which is the next
Yeah.
one. Yes, okay. So let's go to transportation. I just want to make sure, there's no historic issues with this. The open space and recreation, no critical environmental area, and then we're back to the transportation. So do you want me to add customer circulation?
Mhm.
Should be an,
Improve customer circulation.
we're doing that under transportation?
Yeah, with the addition of a rear,
So that's gonna be a change to the plan, so you're not gonna deem it complete today and
Right.
deck it and call for the public hearing?
No, I think we can move forward.
yeah,
Yeah.
these are just,
We just
this is
augmenting
just
the-
secret.
This is
These are-
secret.
Yeah, the goal is to get this.
Should I say with the consideration of an addition, of the rear entrance?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the addition,
okay.
yeah, of a rear
Mhm.
entrance. Or alternative, right? Walkway or something.
Okay. Do you want me to read the other items?
Yes, please,
Potential
Claire.
impact of proposed action to result in additional traffic to the site has been addressed through the submission of the traffic reports prepared by VHB. The planning board retained McLean Associates, which concluded the traffic report is correct, and any recommendations will be addressed during the site plan review process. The consolidation of the access to the subject site and the site to the east will offer more organized and safer access to and from the sites. Coordination of the parking lot and access will permit the existing parking spaces on both sides to be utilized to the full extent and impact access and circulation. Pedestrian walkways shall be incorporated into the design of the parking lots. So my next one would be impact on consistency with noise, odor, and lights. There's no impact on energy. And then this would be no anticipated impact from odor. Dumpsters shall be fenced and screened, dumpsters, many of them. vegetation, the existing proposed lighting shall conform to the tower code and dark sky requirements, 0 lumens at the property line. So I can mention the decorative lights at the crosswalk. It would be in keeping with the
Mhm.
Hampton Bays design.
Yep.
And then the consistency, no impact on human health. And then consistency with community plans. And the cross-access is definitely consistent with the master plan and the plans for Hampton Bays. So I cite that in the 3 bullets there. Do you want me to read them, or?
Yeah, Claire, do we have to make any reference to a Hamlet Bay plan at all
I did
here?
say in the specific plans for Hampton Bays, but if you want me to cite them with the dates, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can do that, definitely. Impact on consistency with community character. This has to do with the building elevations, obviously they're not changing the building dramatically, just the fronts with the windows, I wanted to mention that, and then incorporating landscaping buffers on the property. Okay. My recommendation is a negative declaration with a scheduling of a public hearing for May 25th.
Yeah, Claire, I'm not sure whether this is community plans or community character, and I don't know if this was actually in any written plan.
Okay.
But there's been an awful lot of verbiage about the community wanting the movie theater to stay. And I think we need to at least address that fact, and I'm not sure, I mean, obviously, that's a business. If I'm not sure how to say it, but I think I've heard and read so many people saying that we don't want a drugstore, we want a theater.
Yeah.
And is there a way that we can at least acknowledge that in this secret document?
Sure.
And how?
Sure, I think, yes, but I think it's community character, right?
Yeah.
Community character.
Yeah, so we can say the use, I mean, the drugstore use is a permitted use and special exception because of the size. I can say something to that
Yeah.
effect. Obviously, 20 years ago, the planning board and the town board got together and they said they wanted a movie theater and they attracted this use to the property. It's like the loss of the community use, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
so-
I think
okay.
it at least acknowledges that we heard the people that are upset about this. It's business, it's not anything that we can do about it.
Right.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, definitely. So I'll say that, and then I'll just say something about the drugstore use.
You hear that a lot, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I really want this.
Yeah,
Well,
and-
that's not the application that's in front of us.
I know, but I think it's helpful if we at least acknowledge it,
Yeah.
that the community at least know we heard them.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. That's the
Okay.
consideration.
Two resolutions?
So you want it in 2, Claire, or neg deck?
I have it in
One?
one, but if you want it in 2, we can easily do that. So negative declaration would be the
Yeah.
first action?
Right,
Sure.
so the first action is a negative declaration.
Motion.
Motion by Dennis, second by Gloria, all in favor. Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. And the second is to set a public hearing for May 25th. Motion by
Motion.
Craig, second by Kate, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for being open,
Good luck.
Yes.
and think of us when you are presenting.
Well, I will do what I can. No promises.
You have to be like my kids, and they ask me 15 times, and they hope on the 15th
It
time
doesn't
I
work when you're
change my
talking to
mind.
CVS corporate, but.
You should bring my kids.
By the way, this model, we've had many larger corporations here from, what's Starbucks, what's the McDonald's, et cetera. They have their corporate look.
Sure.
Doesn't necessarily fit here.
Yeah.
And so they're willing to accommodate, they're willing to make a change because they want to be part of the community as opposed to imposing their imprint on the community. And I think that goes a long way in terms of goodwill. Tremendous, tremendous way. So,
I'll talk to them.
thank you. I'll leave it to you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Where to go now?
So do we want to go back to the ZBA applications? Is that good?
Sure.
Yeah, all the way in there.
So I'm going to give you the numbers on that.
What are we doing?
What number, Claire?
The ZBA, which would be First Bridge Petroleum, which is item 55, I mean, page 55.
Wait, I'm looking,
I don't know.
I'm sorry,
I-
I'm
I-
on the
I-
agenda. What
I don't
agenda
know.
item?
Yeah.
Sorry, 11, sorry.
Okay, so
Bridge-
item number 11,
Bridge
Bridge
Petroleum.
Petroleum, Hamlet of East Quogue, 1005 and 1017 Noyak Road.
No, can't be Noyak Road.
No,
That's
No.
what it says. So the address is incorrect.
Yeah, East Quad.
Hamlet of East Quogue.
Yes,
It's
Montauk Highway.
535 Montauk Highway.
The address is,
Yeah, it's 535 Montauk Highway.
am I reading the wrong thing? Bridge Petroleum,
Yep.
I'm on page 8, sorry. Yeah. 535 Montauk Highway. And page 55 in the packet.
Yeah, but it's, okay.
Okay.
So the application to the ZBA has been modified since the last time you reviewed it. You had reviewed it and had issued a conditioned
Conditional.
neg
Right.
deck.
Isn't this Anthony's? No, now you.
No, he's the lucky one with the ZBA, and then I'm the lucky one with you,
Cool,
the
good.
reports.
Okay.
Yes, so what they've done is they're taking the existing building and they're retrofitting that with a convenience store rather than demolishing and redoing the pumps and such. So the existing building is gonna be used for it. Now that it's a different application, my comments on this is that there should be a secret coordination on this, and that you'd probably want lead agency again in this
Yeah.
case. The number of variants has been decreased. Obviously, the pumps are not moving, but they are asking for a canopy, so there's some variances related to that. And then I think you should, maybe a new pre-submission conference process
Because
also.
the site plan itself would have changed. The layout,
Yes,
everything
it's a
would-
totally different
Yeah.
site plan.
Yeah, maybe for the better, but it's just, it needs to be investigated again, so,
So is there any sense in withdrawing that site plan application and then starting anew?
I think that they should. It's
Mhm.
cleaner for
Yeah, it's
secret
much cleaner,
purposes.
yeah.
But that's up to the applicant, and that's something they'd have to come forward. But I think at a minimum, you'd say definitely there's secret coordination with the ZBA, and then a pre-submission review for you.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, okay.
Okay. So I'll say, planning board finds a new pre-submission conference report would outline the issues relevant to the project. And so if you want to adopt that, do that.
Have a report.
Right. And we don't want to say anything about and not contemplates, but suggests the withdrawal of the original application, since it's totally different? I mean, isn't this a place to,
Well, okay, plan board says, you can say you
Mhm.
find that this is a brand-new application and shall start again at the pre-submission.
right, so that all of the ingredients in the original application no longer apply?
What I'm reading in the packet, Claire, is that we hereby adopt the ZBA referral report. I don't see anything about saying,
The ZBA report, isn't that,
Oh, yeah, sorry, it's on page
Page 59.
59. Sorry,
Okay.
that's the,
that's where it
the,
starts.
you know,
Page 59 in the
the
packet.
resolution that will be done. So it's a one-page report.
And there again, Robin, with the rest of that,
She is.
All right.
I've changed it already, the new version.
And John Zuccarelli.
She was, they were here when this was being discussed, so.
no,
Yeah.
it's not far back.
It's the first time, yeah.
So are you going to add number 4?
Well, I'm gonna say the planning board finds that the application has the merits of a new application, and there shall be a new resubmission process
Well said,
commenced.
well
Yeah,
said.
because number 3 doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to ask your opinion.
Yeah.
So-
It was
so
for
what-
discussion.
What's your wording, Claire? The planning
The
board
planning
finds
board
that
finds that
merits-
the, this
merits?
application, this amended application with the ZBA has the merits of a new application,
Okay, good,
and
good.
therefore a new pre-submission process to be
Mhm.
commenced. That would be the 3. You want the
Good.
order? Should number 3 become number 1?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. So can we have a motion to adopt the CBA report?
Motion.
Motion by Craig, second by
Second.
George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor. Thank you, Claire.
You're welcome. And then I have Milk Cow.
Milk Pail, number 12,
This
Milk
one did
Hamlet,
not get into the.
Hamlet of Watermill, 1346 Montauk Highway.
So this is an application for the expansion of the agricultural labor housing. There's an existing building, this is, can you see the area
Yep.
there? So there's an existing building back here that back in, maybe the 80s, the ZBA allowed for the agricultural housing in half the building and the rest is storage. They want the rest of the house, the property to be labor housing. They still need the minimum setback to the side yard, which is about 80 feet. So they need to get an amendment to the ZBA, and then they would come to you for the actual use and the remainder of the building. I think it's a pretty straightforward application. I don't think there was any big
Special
issues with
exception
it.
approval.
Not near any people, and it's an
Is
existing
that
building.
going to trigger an IA system?
Yeah, I was
It
just going
will.
to say that.
It will,
Mhm.
yes. Mhm.
It will administratively, or is that something that would be imposed?
It would probably, I think they're proposing it at this point. Do I
Okay.
have the site plan? Let me see if it shows it.
Because we can add it to as my number 4.
Existing septic tank.
It looks very much like a traditional septic.
A
tank.
traditional,
It's just
yeah.
shown there.
If they're adding bedrooms, would not the county require it
The
anyway?
county, yeah, the county would, but may
But I
not.
think we should still state it.
Yeah,
Well, it's near wetlands too, so you'd be the wetlands approving authority on that, so.
so that's, so 2 more planning issues, right? 4 would be installation of an IA system. And 5, a wetlands permit.
That's number 3. So the exterior, including
Oh, right,
sanitary
sorry.
systems.
Oh, you've got
yeah.
that.
Okay.
Are the wetlands to the north?
They're to the west. I think this is Montauk
Yeah.
Highway, so this
Mhm.
is generally to the west,
There's
yes.
a drainage thing that runs underneath the highway.
So would I say that the planning board generally supports the variances then? Should I say that?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, and then the installation of the septic, the IA system.
Mhm.
Okay. Anything else?
I'll move to adopt.
Okay, motion by Dennis, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor.
Okay, so then I just have a couple completenesses here, and then I'm done.
Number
16?
16, Peconic Beverage, 2023, Hamlet of Shinnecock Hills, 74 County Road 39.
So this one is to simply reschedule the public hearing. They didn't do their notices, and it is subject to fees, so I'm gonna put that in there. And that will be for May 25th.
Okay. Motion to reschedule the public hearing to May 25th. Motion by George,
Second.
second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
And then I have 3-5 Montauk, which is 103.
Okay, this is 3-5 Montauk, Hamlet of Watermill, 35 Montauk Highway.
And this is the enclosure of that front carports. We had a pre-submission that was adopted, I think the end of last year. And they received a ZBA variance to do that because the expansion over the 15,000 square feet. The planning board at the time of the pre-submission said they wouldn't be subject to a public hearing because there's been no public interest in the application. So this would be to deem it complete and provide a written comment period.
30-day.
30 days till May 15th, yes.
Okay. Motion
Motion.
by Gloria, second by
Second.
Janice, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
And then my last one is Sunrise of Spion.
Okay, number 18, Sunrise of Spionk. And that is page 7, 1313 Spionk Riverhead Road.
And this is to deem the application incomplete. There's a couple issues, including the town engineer and on this project. So I've come together with a checklist. That's pretty extensive, so. But the applicant knows, he's aware of it, he's gonna address it, and we'll be back to you,
Okay.
when the time it's complete, okay?
So motion to deem it incomplete by Gloria, all, second by Dennis, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. We've done CVS, I guess it's.
I have number 22,
Oh, you-
20 also, I should say.
20, you do.
Yeah, Perone, Stephen, this is a one-year extension of the pre-application report. It was issued last year.
So it goes 1-year extension to
3/24/24.
Mm-hmm.
3/24/24. It's at 59 Old Canoe Place Road. Motion
Motion.
by Gloria, second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
And then my 3 site plan for signatures are off. So Bridgehampton Commons, A&E Club Properties, and the Bridge are off the agenda.
Okay, and anything tonight, Claire, that's all?
I guess there is one.
Yeah, I'll go through that with you guys.
You'll go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
Oh,
Anthony, do you have the schedule, agenda for tonight? I don't have, somehow or another, it's not in this packet.
I don't know, I mean,
We don't, none of us have it.
Yeah, we don't usually get it until it sits on that desk when we come back in the evening.
So then, just before I start my stuff, regarding tonight, there was a noticing issue with 200 North McGee Street. So they're not gonna have the hearing tonight, but before we do anything else, I just wanted to see if on 200 North McGee, that's the name of the subdivision, if we could reschedule the public hearing for June 8th.
Okay.
Because I have another one for May 25th, the last
Okay.
one for that.
Motion
Motion.
to reschedule by Dennis, second
Second.
by Gloria, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. To rescheduling it to
June
June
8th.
8th.
Okay, so I have number 9 on the agenda, 117 Spinney Road, it's page 46. It's a site disturbance application. Everybody knows where Spinney Road is, in East Quogue. This is an example here of over-cleared property. So you can see,
Indeed.
much of it's been over-cleared. It's a property that's, let me just go actually real quick.
6 p.m.
Great, thank you. Geez. What did she say was off? McGee Street was off,
The McGee application.
so we still have 1.
Okay. So this is a property that's allowed 60% clearing.
4 items.
And it's over cleared. So it's just by 4,000 square feet. And you can see most of the front here where the house is and all the structures where the clearing is. There's a little wooded area in the back. So most of the re-veg is going to take place in the back. There's an existing shed here. When this first came in, I tried to work around the shed, but I had the plan noted to remove the existing shed to a conforming location. And then this area is going to be revegetated with a mix of understory and trees with the shed removed. So, and that will bring it into compliance with the 60% maximum.
Is the shed going to be relocated or demolished?
Relocated. They're putting it into the cleared area in the back here.
Okay.
And then on the resolution, which is not on here for some weird reason, that's okay. It should be in the packet.
Page
but-
46.
It is in the packet.
It is? Sorry, I'm shocked.
I'm
So
not
you'll see at
sure.
the end of the resolution, I put in the standard requirements, the work to be in compliance prior to the issuance of the CO. Project limiting fences to be installed prior to any additional work being done on the property. Upon completion of the revegetation, as-built surveys need to be submitted, and we will inspect for compliance. And then they have, let's see, 1 year to do the revegetation, and then they could do a 6-month extension for $300 after the fact, and then it's at your discretion, if you want to have them read.
That's our standard.
Yeah,
And they don't, if they wait a year and a half, they don't get a CO?
that's right. I can't tell you how many people come rushing to try to get this stuff wrapped up 2 weeks before they look at the sell, move out, or whatever the case may be. So that's the time frame you have. You're going to find yourself in trouble if you don't
Yeah.
do it, so. So-
That would suggest that you should not dawdle.
That's right. So I would recommend approval of the revegetation plan for 117 Spinney Road, subject to the 4 conditions outlined in the resolution.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, second by George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
How come you have all these disturbances? It's usually Jeff.
If you just promise me you won't look at the dates when they came in, that's all. I have a few of them, to be quite honest. Just to-
So you're doing number 10,
I'm doing number 10.
Deerfield Road, Hamlet of
22 Deerfield Road. So this is
page 51.
page 51, it's R80 zone, act for protection. It's up in Noyak there. This is a case where this property was developed just after the enactment of the regulations. And if you go back and look at the history, got a tennis court here, a swimming pool, a house. At no point did the clearing ever become an issue until they came in to do a new building permit today. And the clearing was on there, and a building inspector noticed that there was an issue. So,
So they're coming in to demolish and rebuild?
well, we have, you know, a revegetation plan. Well, if you look at the aerial here.
How much are they over cleared?
Was it 9,000? They're revegetation, basically, in all the little cleared areas that you sort of see around the structures here. There's not much left there, you know, in these,
But they came in for a building permit for what?
to, let's see. They're redoing the house in the front. This is, let me see. Yeah, they're redoing the driveway and they're adding a garage to the property.
Okay.
Not doing really any additional clearing. I think there's 240 square feet, but that's because of the septic system that they have to upgrade with. But beyond that, they're filling in the gaps everywhere else. That's basically what this plan does. And who knows what happens in the future then, because you're gonna be right up to the number. And again, they did, you know, a mix of trees and understory. And I would recommend approval at this point.
Okay. Have a motion
Motion.
by Dennis, second by George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
Number 14, page 81.
14.
Two different acts. So this is the Rockland Dynasty subdivision. We're on Lower Seven Ponds Road in Watermill, CRA zoning district. New York State Archaeological Sensitive Area and the Ag Overlay District. The Ag Overlay District is what initiated the seeker on this, because it makes it a type 1 action automatically. With respect to the archaeological, that was done and submitted as part of the final application when we deemed it complete, which didn't identify anything. So we've been back and forth on this one. We did a covenant amendment, and this was either Jackie's or Matt's subdivision, so I took this one over. You did a covenant amendment for this one recently to eliminate the no further subdivision covenant that would allow this property to be subdivided into 2 lots. The board might recall, as part of that discussion, which came out of the pre-app report, the 2-lot plan is essentially an open space plan. It's 1 lot for the existing residents, another lot for proposed structures, and then the rest of the property, mostly wetlands, obviously, going to be is open space to be dedicated to the town. Can't do anything with the wetlands anyway, but better to be in the town's possession than someone else's, I think. Especially extensive wetlands like this along the
And they don't
creek.
have to pay taxes on it.
That's right. And there's existing conservation easements associated with the previous subdivision, and those easements have basically been incorporated into this new plan, and then we've also incorporated the required covenanted buffers from the wetlands that are required as part of this project. So you'll see in this, so you know, you have a 100-foot required buffer from the wetlands line. And so that brings it, on this property, you can see here, some of that 100-foot buffer falls off the properties. But what does fall on this property is going to remain as a naturally vegetated buffer that can't be touched. So you have the buffers, you have the easements, and then you have the open space parcel being dedicated to the town. So basically, we had to do the secret on this because it was a type 1 action. And, you know, with the open space preservation, I think, and the establishment of the buffers, the IA systems, I just don't think there's going to be any negative impacts as a result of
My
this.
recollection is that there was several residents nearby that were incredibly unhappy.
That is absolutely
And
true.
I'm not I don't remember, I remember that, but I don't know why.
So here's what I would say to that, because the second part of this was going to be to deem the application complete. I know that Daphne Vaughn, by the way, Charles may be here for this, she should be here. I know that she was gonna ask to have the final hearing waived in this case, but there was public.
Yeah.
And look, I would be the first to tell you that I don't know any new information that's gonna come out of this, but it is good to inform the public, look, here's what we have done. We got open space, we got buffers. So this
Absolutely.
may be a case where we have the final hearing.
Yeah.
Thing
I
is
mean, I
that
would-
fence coming down
Right.
on lower seven ponds. Road.
Yes. So the first action here was to issue the negative declaration, obviously one additional single-family residence with all that preservation of having any impact. So okay.
Oh, there's that.
Who's Daphne?
Okay,
Yes, Daphne, please give us just your name for the record. She's on a delay. That's-
She's watching it on the computer.
Hold on. Let's see. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Daphne Vaughn, Surfside Environmental Planning.
Thank you. Anthony just went over the secret determination and the neg deck.
You want to take an action on?
Yeah,
I'll let you do
Ready?
that first, yeah.
yeah. So, neg deck, can I have a motion to deem the application? Rothman Dynasty, Hamlet of Watermills, 27 Lower Seven Ponds Road. Negative declaration by Dennis, second by
Second.
Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. That's number 14, and now 15
So
is
Daphne,
the Rothman Dynasty completeness.
completed. So Daphne, you know, Gloria just brought up the fact that there were neighbors who showed up to the hearings the first time around, as you and I discussed today. So what I'm going to recommend, Daphne, is that we deem the application complete and then schedule a final hearing for this one. But I will let you
It was one neighbor that was showing up repeatedly, and he was showing up on behalf of his mother, who's an adjacent property owner across the pond from here. But that's the only neighbor that ever showed up. And he showed up every time, basically,
Right.
to say that he didn't want the subdivision to happen.
Well, there's
So-
always the possibility that additional people will come. It's an opportunity for the community to weigh in. So we would schedule a public hearing for what date?
May
Anthony?
25th.
May
That would be
tw-
the fourth one for that.
Yeah.
For May 25th.
May 25th?
Yep. Okay. So a motion on that,
Motion.
please, by Kate?
Second.
Second by George, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor.
And if I just may on this other one, because she raised this today with me. So, I don't know when exactly this happened, but an NJ letter was actually issued, and correctly so, by Marty's office, for a proposed second addition to this residence here. It's
The
outside.
Rothman Dynasty?
Rothman Dynasty, yep, Marty's
Could-
office did the
Could
review.
you said NJ, what is?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Non-jurisdiction.
Lingo, non-jurisdiction letter. The
Okay.
proposed improvements were outside of the 200-foot setback from the wetlands. So they issued a non-jurisdiction letter for that work. Go ahead.
So, I guess I should clarify. So, as part of our final application in December, when we submitted this, I did request to submit an application to the building department for a proposed second-story addition. And one of the things that I did while waiting for a decision on that was I submitted an application for a letter of non-jurisdiction. And the existing house is within 200 feet. The reason that we were eligible for a letter of non-jurisdiction is because the residence that's existing, we upgraded the sanitary system to an oversized capacity back in 2018 before we got into any of this subdivision business, I guess we could say. So the sanitary system is compliant for the additional bedrooms that we're requesting. So that, and because the second floor is within the existing footprint of the existing dwelling, we would qualify for that non-jurisdiction. So the family's looking for an expansion of the bedrooms because they have 7 children and it's a 2-bedroom house right now. And they would like to utilize the residence and they just can't with the capacity right now.
Question about, I don't care if it's bigger, it is not an IA.
Do you have, that was gonna be my question. Do you have health department approval for the septic system on this?
Yes, it's approved, installed, and final approved,
But
back in 2018.
yeah, but that's not the current code in Suffolk County. And
Yes, it is.
No,
not-
we require only IA systems in the town.
It is
Yes,
an IA system.
Oh, you said,
Yeah.
you said an
Oh, you-
oversized standard system or something.
yeah,
No, it's an oversized IA system.
okay.
Okay.
She didn't say I.
Then never mind. What she's asking for is, could she proceed with the building permit that's already been submitted, presumably? You submitted a building permit?
No, we haven't submitted a building permit. We would like to submit a building permit.
They would like to submit the building permit for the
Existing
second
house?
story.
No objection, but you need a no objection.
I need a no objection from the board, that's all.
And how many bedrooms are being added?
I think it's 2.
So too. All I cared about was that they had the health department approval for the
Yeah.
IA system. I'm okay with them
I don't think
proceeding
they
then.
have any.
It's outside,
Yeah, I've
you know.
actually spoken to the health department, and they said that they have no need to be involved because it's already been approved and installed, and it's oversized to accommodate those additional bedrooms.
Yeah. What I didn't hear was that it was an IA system. If it was an old-fashioned system,
Yeah.
then that was my question.
Yeah,
for sure.
no, it was in 2018, so because it was on wetlands, we had to do an IA system, so
Okay.
we did that upgrade.
Cool.
Okay. All
So
right,
then
so
I'll
we're complete and we're
Just do a,
scheduled for the May
on
25th?
May 28th, you're good there, and then just a resolution authorizing the building permit for the second
No,
story
no.
addition.
Did we take a vote on the?
Well, that's what I'm doing now.
No, but did we take a vote on the completeness?
No.
And schedule a public
Oh,
hearing?
No, we did
No.
not.
Oh, sorry.
So motion on that is,
Sorry about that.
Motion.
motion by Gloria and second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, so we have a vote on that. And now you want something,
Yeah, just a resolve that you would allow the building permit for the second story addition to the existing house.
okay, so motion by
I'll
Dennis,
second.
second by Gloria, and all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Number
Anthony, you are now,
19.
okay, so that's Strebel and Klein,
Yeah, so-
Hamlet of West Hampton, 406 Mill Road.
Yep.
And
So
it's
this is
112 in the
the,
packet.
oh, sorry about that. It is on page 112. So this is the property on Mill Road in the HC zoning district. It's adjacent to the post office site in the Hamlet of West Hampton, which is then adjacent to the 7-Eleven there at the corner of Mill Road and John Way. The proposal here is for a very simple looking site plan. It's for a 3,000 square foot wood frame building for office uses with parking in the back. We got a little relief from the zoning board, one for one parking space, and then the transition yard setback, because it's adjacent to residential zone over here. However, this is town-owned open space, so there's no residences that are going to be proposed there. So the planning board didn't have any concerns with the driveway. We had previously deemed this incomplete pending submission of additional information. This is what the structure looks like at this stage of the game. Looks like it's going to be a hardy plank design. It's pretty nice. They did get the engineer all the stuff that they needed, so my recommendation is, this is a case where I did get a phone call from a few neighbors that were really just curious to know what was going on, and so I think maybe in this site plan, we should have a public hearing, notwithstanding
Okay.
the fact that we didn't have any comments the first time.
So we're deeming it complete and
Deeming it
scheduling
complete
a
and
public
scheduling it
hearing?
for May 20.
You have 4 already,
You want to do June 8th for this one?
Sure.
I'm okay with that.
June 8th.
June 8th it is.
Okay, motion to deem this complete and schedule a hearing for June 8th by George, second by Tom. All in favor? Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor.
And just one more.
Your Parrots project?
Yeah, I took this over also. This is just a lot line modification.
Okay, I have to give the address,
Oh,
please.
sorry.
Hamlet of North Sea, and this is 105 and 1017 Noyak Road, right?
Yep.
And it's page 120 in the packet.
So this is just an extension. Here is the lot line change between two lots, just to show you the map. It's just a tiny little sliver between these two lots. This wasn't mine. I don't know what led to this, maybe to deal with some type of encroachment. But in any case, you did the approval on this. They're still probably working out the health department. You still got to get health department even on an innocuous lot line change like this. So I'm recommending, it's retroactive because it came in March, but we would do an extension of the action deadline for submission of the final maps from March 17th, 2023 until June 15th, 2023.
So this is an extension to June
June 15th.
15th, 2023. Motion by Dennis, second by Craig, all in favor? 7 in favor.
Anthony, these little lot modifications still have to go to zoning, I mean, the health department?
Yes, and the reason why we did that, Dennis, was, and this popped up in other municipalities, it used to be that it was never required, Southold, East Town, all these places. Then they do the lot modification, they file the maps, then they go in and get a health department approval for a septic system to put in a new house, increase bedrooms, and the health department comes back and says, your lots don't match what we have on our records. So we started making it so they don't have this problem, you know.
When they
in the
go file
future.
for the,
Yeah.
but the other towns don't require it?
Southold at one point started putting in a notation in the resolution saying you may have an issue with the health department. But this town correctly required the health department. They treat it as a subdivision.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
great.
So it was actually smart on the pound side. It's better for the applicants.
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
Okay, Anthony, are you done?
I'm done.
You're done?
No, he's Anthony.
What'd I
Thank you.
call him? No, I said Anthony's
Thank you,
finished.
Jeff.
Jeff, oh, okay.
Good afternoon, board.
Good afternoon, Jeff.
If you don't mind, in the wake of, go through some of the applicants' representatives here. if you don't mind,
Okay.
skip to some of their applications. Let's see.
Where do you wanna go?
So we'll start with 44 Lewis Road, which is number,
495, County Road 39.
that is number,
Number 4,
No, that was the Lewis Road PRD.
495 County Road 39.
No, so we're gonna do number 7, which is page 33.
Robert Nealon,
Correct.
site disturbance, Hamlet of East Quogue, 44 Lewis Road,
Right, so,
correct? And it's numbered page 33 in the packet.
so we have an application for site disturbance to restore 7.5% of overcleared natural vegetation on a property just under an acre. I'll bring up.
We don't need the language so much as the plan.
Perfect. So you all know where Lewis Road is.
Bless you.
There we go. All right, so the application here to restore the natural vegetation, most of the vegetation will encompass the rear portion of the yard. Of course, obviously, you're familiar with the Lewis Road project, which is across the street. And we do like that the vegetation itself is filling in this rear portion, consistent with, believe this is also a preserved, I think this is a town-owned piece on the rear of the subject property. The landscape plan is consistent with our requirements, which you can see here. Most of the area yard is kept natural, but they were just off, as I mentioned, by 7.5%. And the plan itself does satisfy the minimum requirements for site disturbance and bringing in natural vegetation. They have a fair amount of understory and canopy, again, consistent with the pitch pine oak forest. But again, you can see here some vegetation off the front to screen the property. I think that's probably most likely because Lewis Road is frequently used as a cut-through for traffic purposes, of course. We have Scott here. I don't know if you have any comments for the board yourself.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I don't know if whether or not the board has any questions or concerns for him.
Good to go.
Could I just see the aerial again?
Sure.
Okay, so that sandy area is part of the re-veg?
Correct.
Okay.
So essentially, this is the entire front portion of the area.
And the rear is staying.
Yeah, the rear is
I thought I heard you
existing.
say that the rear was being revegetated, that's.
No, I'm sorry. The rear is.
You may have said that, I don't know.
No, you're probably correct. But the rear has remained vegetated. That's
Okay.
essentially what I was trying to state. They're proposing most of the vegetation on the front yard of the property.
Which is where it's obviously sandy.
Exactly.
And,
And that's a town-owned open space parcel behind them?
Off the rear, I believe so, yes.
Okay.
So recommending that we approve this,
Okay.
move forward, and it's similar conditions as Anthony said earlier. You have a year to complete this, and with $300 check can request renewal or extension, excuse me. And as part of the approval process, we require an as-built survey once the revegetation is complete.
Okay, motion?
Motion.
By Gloria, second by Kate. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Thank you. And do you want, who else is in here?
So we have Rosemary. This is number 8 on the agenda packet, essentially the next agenda item, which is on page 38.
This is William Platt Jr., Hamlet of North Sea, 38 Woodland Farm,
Oh,
number 8. Yeah, number 8.
So this application is for off-site preservation of the extinguishment of town development right certificates. The existing property is in Aquifer Protection Overlay District. They are limited to 35% clearing. They are currently overcleared by 11.73%, and they're electing to use our TDR process to preserve that 11.7%. You'll remark in the resolution, the applicant is in the process of obtaining 3 certificates. Those certificates will total about 13,309 square feet. The applicant only needs 10,043 square feet of off-site preservation to bring them compliant to the allowable 35% clearing restriction.
Did Dave Wilcox find these parcels?
Yes, I have some of the certificates actually attached. All existing in North Sea and Southampton School District, all existing and available for use. The applicant is in the process of completing the process with Mr. Wilcox, as well as completing the purchase process to obtain these TDRs.
So, in a case like this where the development rights exceed the amount that you need to clear, is that extra 3,000 square feet, does that become a partial?
Correct.
That she owns?
That she can either own, or I believe you can only purchase, you can purchase up to the amount you need, essentially. Sure.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Barone for the applicant. Yes, my clients are purchasing the rights from Blair Gaza, and we'd be purchasing the amount needed. We are overcleared by just over 10,000 square feet. Keep in mind the property is overcleared, but it's still 53% of the property is undisturbed. I'm not sure if you, looking at the survey, the topography on the property makes it difficult for re-veg. Obviously, we can do it, but it would be scattered all over, and I don't think that's the intent of the code. You know, the town likes the properties all together. I think doing the off-site preservation will be better for the environment, for the natural habitat, you know, and do exactly what the code is looking for. And as said, it's all in the Aquifer Protection Overlay District. It's all groundwater Zone 5. The bulk of the rights are coming within a quarter mile of the site.
Are they in APOD, what you're buying, the development rights? Are they
Correct,
also
yes.
in
Yeah,
APOD?
yeah. I'm sure they're around the transfer station.
Yep, all located in the old file map. And just to answer your question too, George, the first 2 certificates they're using are partial credits as well. So I believe they were used for maybe another applicant at a different time, but the first 2 are partials that they're.
So they're just purchasing enough, just enough.
Exactly, just enough, yep.
Got it, thank you.
And
That's the question.
how large a piece of property is this?
It's 85,000 square feet,
Okay.
so 53% is still undisturbed, as you can tell from the survey.
Is it a newly constructed house?
It's not, and my client recently purchased the property. She didn't do this, she inherited
Okay.
the problem.
That's often the story.
Yeah, and it was last year she purchased it, so I didn't represent it.
Okay, is that it, Jeff?
So with that being said, I'm recommending that we approve this with conditions that the applicant proceeds and completes the process with Mr. Wilcox in obtaining the TDRs, the development rights. Site inspection is not necessarily required for this, so I'll cross that out actually. And the approval is good for a year. Again, depending on how long the process takes, of course. You can come back for a 6-month extension for $300 if it does expire.
I think the last time we had a situation where development rights were purchased, that was property on Edge of Woods Road. And they had, when we approved the plan, it had already been bought. So this case, you said it's good for a year, what, I mean, what,
Well,
how
what's
does
good for
that?
years, the approval?
The revet.
Right, the approval of the off-site preservation. So this resolution is good for a year. If, for whatever reason, the process with Mr. Wilcox obtaining the development rights takes longer to complete this process, then she would have to come back for an extension.
But what triggers that we know that it didn't happen?
It's a good question, actually.
I mean, if we have this resolution and normally when it's re-vegged, you or one of your other planners go
Exactly.
out and confirm it. In this case, I'm not suggesting this, but you could basically go ahead and do nothing. I mean, is the CO being held up or what's?
You know, I'm not sure. I think there might be a CO being held on this, but I know what prompted my client to hire me. She wants to do an interior renovation on the home. So,
So maybe we can pin it to having the transfer of development rights by a certain date within that year, and if not, something. What would you say, Christine?
Yeah, I mean, I.
Some language like
I
that.
kind of want some sort of a nexus that's
Yeah.
going to trigger, this didn't happen.
What she stated is an option, which is generally what we use anyways when it comes to re-veges. Yeah, if you're looking to sell your property, you have to get an updated CO. That triggers a review of your survey and whether or not you're overcleared, and/or if you're going for a building permit, a review of your survey again happens, and it's usually picked up by the building inspector. But I don't know if there's any other.
You and George.
Sorry.
They usually put an airplane mode.
Yeah, I don't know if the code gives us any other ability to.
I'm looking to
follow
you,
up on
Christine.
this.
I know.
Can we, can't tie
Help
it?
us.
We can't tie it to the development rights?
Tied, like, how do you want it, like?
That the purchase of the development rights have to be done by X date? I mean, they have a year.
They have the purchase, you did.
No,
But you
she
have
no,
them.
we negotiate, we're not purchasing anything we can't use, and Blair Gaza doesn't want to sell anything to anybody that they can't use. So we're in negotiations, and as soon as we get the approval, we're going to buy them, and we're going to close this so she can move on and get her.
I
Well,
mean,
the
I
other day,
think that's
it's a
the-
clearing violation, you could calendar in it, and then a notice violation would be issued.
Sure.
If it's not finalized.
I mean, I think you have the same problem when you're revegetating. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
people
if
could do
I'm-
nothing, right?
Well,
And
they have a time limit. I mean, there is, that's the last.
But do you send a
piece.
letter if they, if the year goes up?
No, it doesn't get flagged, but I think what Dennis is saying, you could give like a certain period and
Yeah, I mean,
I have no problem with that.
6 months?
Sure.
So what language are we inserting?
So what I'll add to the conditions that the approval itself is good for a year, but within 6 months, there should be an update as to the process, where they are in the process, and that Mr. Wilcox also signs off on their participation in the process.
That sounds good.
Sounds
That
Any
works.
other questions? Works for everybody?
yep.
And you'll fill in the certificate numbers on this, Jeff?
Yes, there's only one that I know that wasn't necessarily ironed out yet, and I'll fill that one in. Otherwise, the other certificate numbers are accurate.
Yeah, you've got 2.
3,
3.
in total 4.
I only see dashes on 2. Oh, 3, yeah. Okay, great. So, motion to move forward by,
Now, motion.
George is making the motion.
Second.
Second by Dennis, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor. Thanks, Rosemary.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Janice, you want to come in? Yes, absolutely.
Do I need to pull that up for you, Janice?
Sure. 330-77 referral, that's the one I'm here for.
Oh, is that town board?
That's the town board.
Yeah, sorry.
Um,
And I've asked Anthony to sit with me since he sits with the
Very
ZBA.
very kindly on this one.
And,
Like 8 of them or whatever we did today.
Is this under your?
No, this is a code amendment.
And Anthony was kind of greenish.
What
Yes.
number is this?
22.
Well, it's the very, 22.
It's a new updated 22 on the updated agenda. If you
is
have
the
an
real-
old agenda, it's not on there, but
The
Kristen
real,
updated
this
it.
is the real lot.
Okay.
Yeah,
at the
real lot
very end.
coverage.
Yes, that's it.
It's in the packet? Is that, no?
No, it was an add-on.
Can you hand those, so those back, I'll give-
One.
I have the bottom, not the top. Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Everybody got
Thank
it?
you.
Thank you.
You're on.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and the board. Janice Shearer, Town Planning and Development Administrator. Today, I'm just here for a town board referral, and that is a small code amendment to section 33077. And as you see on this hearing notice, it's to increase the permitted required rear yard lot coverage percentage. And I'm gonna explain to you what this is all about. Except that my little map, I handed them all out. Oh no, here it is, I got it. So I gave you a little schematic that is involved in the code. This is in our town code right now. And you see you have your building envelope, which you're all familiar with. Front yard, rear yard, and side yards. There's this is pretty black and white. You see where it says side yard, it's pretty clear. But there was an old, long-standing interpretation that it may be not considered the side yard once you're behind the house, or there was this sort of interpretation that was going on for many
On
years.
side yard.
We have a new chief, we've had, and his interpretation is that's still the side yard. You can't put accessory structures in the side yard without meeting the setback. It requires a variance. But when you really, and so there's a lot of consternation about that because people want to push things over into the side yard. But when you really look at the root of the problem, it's not the side yard, it's the rear yard, because you're only allowed to put 20% coverage in your rear yard setback. So you can't
And that's
even,
the
you
bigger
can't use
area.
80% of your rear yard, technically. And so most people come to the ZBA for variances from this and requesting relief. So we feel, after looking at the types of variances that have been requested, if we just allow more coverage in the rear yard, you still have to maintain total coverage, you still that same number, then people wouldn't be trying to push everything into the side yard. So our code amendment is to change the rear yard percentage from 20% to 50%, so you can actually put things in your approved rear yard, still meeting that minimum setback from the fence, et cetera. And then we think that will solve the issue of people
side.
pushing into the side yards.
So the side yard setbacks vary from whatever?
From district to district, there's always that total
But they
side yard.
stay, they stay.
They stay, and the interpretation.
What you'd be putting there is like a shed or something that's not very
Yeah, and the
pleasant.
interpretation that this is a side, you can see it better with the structures as I highlight it. This then would still uphold the chief's determination that this is indeed the side yard. And those are, you only can put a shed so many feet from your side yard setback.
Right.
So
That
we
makes
would like them
sense.
to use more of their rear yard to alleviate the pressure on the side yard, and we wouldn't have to change that interpretation, which I think is accurate.
Right.
His interpretation is based, otherwise, the only other way to do it is to change the code and change what side yards mean.
So does this let them put more stuff in the yard? Or you're just saying it's gonna have, they're
It's the
gonna
same
move it
stuff
from the
that
side?
everybody still is putting,
Right.
either way. It's just
Right.
that, if you look at it from a property owner standpoint, you're paying taxes, you own a property, and you're not only allowed to use 20% of your rear yard to put whatever it is you're putting there. So this will give you, at least it's a little more fair.
But it doesn't, the overall coverage. of
The overall
lot
coverage is the
isn't
same.
changing.
It does not
No,
change.
it's just
Which,
the clearing
to-
limit, this
from
doesn't.
a POD
Doesn't change clearing.
perspective, that would be, that, when I first looked at this, I had to stop and think and say, I don't want you to be able to have all that extra stuff, but it's just be moving it to a different place.
Exactly. You still have to maintain your overall coverage. So we're not changing that. We're just changing the usable area, because they're only trying to use 20% and then push into those side yards instead of just being in the rear yard where it belongs.
So typically, what's what's actually placed in the rear yard? Sheds, decks, the swimming
Pools,
pool?
tennis courts.
Swimming
Tennis
pools,
courts.
tennis courts. right.
With still the setbacks, of course. You still
Yes.
have to maintain
Right.
your setbacks.
Does
Does
it
this-
alter in any way the definition of rear yard in
No.
the definition code? No.
No, and that's what we're trying to avoid, is altering the definition of a side yard.
And
Because
So-
the idea was, well, it's not a side yard anymore once you're behind the house, and we don't know, and the chief
Right.
doesn't agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah, that's.
So I have a two-part question. In the event that your home is in between two roads, what is the determining factor of front yard,
Yeah.
backyard?
And a corner
And
lot
then-
too.
Well,
Well,
then
corner
you,
lot too,
well,
yeah.
corner lots are two fronts, and through lot, which is what you're describing, is also two fronts.
Okay.
And then, so those have special circumstances that,
Right.
they do get benefits from, but oftentimes those kinds of lots do end up in front of the
Yeah.
ZBA.
But this would not be applicable to through lot.
Not those, because they don't, well, I mean, they do have a designated rear yard. If you have a corner lot, you have a front, a side, and usually, somehow a rear. Depends on how it circumstantial it is.
Right.
But,
Well, here, can I just add one thing?
Please.
What I would say is that regardless of whether it's a corner lot or through lot, there will be a definable rear yard designation, and that percentage is, what we're looking
within
at.
that rear yard.
Within that rear yard,
50%.
So it's
50%,
50/50. 50% goes to the benefit of like the public, that you are not gonna put all this stuff in your yard, and 50% goes to you, the owner, who has
To use.
use of your own property, which seems fair to me. I mean, I would like to be able to use my own property, as well as be respectful and mindful of my neighbor. So it seems fair to us.
Not to mention that, like she said, in the R200, or the CR200 zone, whatever, that maximum building coverage is permitted, and that's it. So it's 5% in that zone, 15% or 20%.
Whatever the maximum
Those don't
coverage is.
change.
But we think also will alleviate a lot of this pressure to the ZBA, because most people go for variances from the
variance.
20% and ask
For side yard
For-
relief.
at
And
rear
side
yard
yard,
coverage, yeah.
All sorts
Rear
of
yard
stuff.
coverage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the side yard definition is the entire side yard, not just the side yard that's where the building envelope is.
That's right, it runs from the front to the
To the
rear.
back.
Okay,
As in this picture, which is what the chief looked at this picture and said, this is it. So if this isn't it, then the town board needs to change it.
Yeah.
But if this is it, then we should look at what's the real problem here. Why do they want us to say that?
Right.
Because they can't use the rear yard.
Right, so backing out the problem, you came to that
To
solution,
the
which is
root
the
of the
rear
issue,
yard.
and
Yeah,
then did
yeah,
some research
good.
and found out most people are asking for variances. And so something's wrong with the code when everybody needs a variance from it.
Yeah.
So we're trying to fix that problem. And if it doesn't fix that problem, then we need to reevaluate this. But I think this is true and correct, and that we
Mhm.
should, do that.
So it's worth having Anthony on the ZBA.
Oh, 100%, he's my ace. Having a
He's our ace,
planner at
too.
the ZBA
Is
is
wonderful.
critical.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate it.
Yeah,
That
we
was
sure
like
do.
one of my first orders of business.
Good one.
So do you have any comments on this to the town board?
Uh,
Do we have any planning issues?
Well,
Nope.
it is a planning issue in the sense that
But
we
I mean,
don't
we
have
don't have any
any.
concerns.
Objections.
It
No
meets,
objection.
it meets, it meets the intention of what? Of the
It seems reasonable, I
It
would.
seems reasonable to modify the rear yard.
I think to
Setback.
reflect the zoning realities of.
Yes.
of the-
It's coverage
Yes,
percentage, yeah.
yeah.
When you have, 75% of the applications coming into the ZBA
Are
are
they
for your
that
rear
much?
yard and side yard stuff, then
Yeah.
that's what you're looking at.
Good. All right.
And it makes sense to put all your structures in your rear yard, not along the
Not the
sides where
sides.
people are more likely to
Right.
be annoyed by
Because the
it.
houses are bigger and bigger and bigger, so
Yes.
they
I
don't
love
have
things
too
like
much
this,
side
when you-
yard.
when you see recurring problems and you just take a common sense solution to it.
Yes.
We're
it's
hoping that
excellent.
this will do the trick.
And
I
do you
think
go
it
back
will.
in a year and see if your requests for side yard variances are
If they
down?
d- Yeah,
Yeah,
Is that-
and now people aren't upset that the chief wants to interpret it this way, which is the correct way. I would support that and say it makes sense, because now we don't have to push into these yards, because we can put it where it goes.
Was
and
the
then
old
rear yard.
interpretation that the side yard extended all the way into the backyard? Is that?
well,
Yeah,
it
that's
does.
the issue, because in the past, it was said, and it's funny because we
Back
did a
in the
little
house, it
research,
didn't-
and in some towns, they actually say, it doesn't matter where you are with behind the house or not. Like, they'll actually say that, because this is like an old school thing. Like, oh, if you're behind the house, it's not a side yard anymore. I don't know why they used to say that, but some towns
Yeah,
make
that's-
reference to
That's
that.
because I'm hearing that, because it makes sense that always you have a setback.
Well,
so
it's light and air, right? So
Right.
that was the
Yeah.
point of that. So you, and even emergency, clear through. So that was the intent, that is the zoning intent of the side yard. Light, air, and access.
Okay, good.
Okay, so it seems reasonable to modify, no further planning
No,
issues?
no,
Okay.
yeah.
Do we
No,
adopt it?
and we
Okay.
want to adopt it,
Yeah.
so a
For cha-
motion,
for-
motion,
For a change of pace.
motion by somebody.
And you recommend adoption? Can I
Yes.
say that?
Make a
Okay.
motion.
Yes, Kate had the motion, and then second by
Second.
Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor, you got it.
Jack,
Wonderful.
Before Janice
Thank you.
leaves.
And in the year, you can tell us it
When you walk through,
Yes.
walk
it
on.
didn't.
Oh, yeah, we're going to have a walk-on, Janice, just so that you know, and it's, that's
The
essentially.
administrative approval of the.
No.
No, that's another thing, no, this is about the,
Best.
the best situation, is the board is in total agreement to do a moratorium, so we're gonna,
You're going to
we're
put a
gonna walk
resolution
this
through?
on, yeah.
Okay, sure,
yeah,
no problem.
Good.
We're gonna
Okay,
ask you
great.
to bring it to the town board.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're already, it will get referred to you officially anyway as a
Okay.
public hearing notice.
Okay, but we're gonna,
So you
we're
can
gonna
give this
pass a
in
resolution.
advance.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
sure.
Jean helped draft.
And then when
Great.
we do pass the moratorium, resolution, notice of public hearing, I'll come back for a referral.
And then we can have a work
And we
session.
can have that separate thing again where you can go over in detail. Okay?
Excellent.
Okay,
Great.
very
Thanks,
good. Thank you
Janice.
so much. Have a nice day.
Let Jeff finish.
Janice, do you want to be here for the administrative review or no?
Do you need me here for
Oh,
that?
for the re-veg? No,
The administrative review, I don't know.
I don't think so. You're here, so,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm here.
it's 5 to 4 if you've got a 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I have a 4 o'clock, but this shouldn't take very long, right?
no,
The idea is to take some stuff off your plate and not have you have to worry about the re-veg plans. We can approve them administratively, and if someone doesn't like what we're saying, they have the option to appeal to you as a board. So you,
I think
in
that's
all
good.
administrative reviews, if they don't like what we're telling them, they can always come to you.
Yeah.
And we always tell people they have the option to come to you,
Good.
but for the most part, we'll just approve them administratively.
Right.
And that would be your recommendation to the town board, to change the code
mhm,
and allow an administrative approval.
Right.
And we'll just take care of it in-house.
But the back end, make sure it happened, still happens.
Inspections, make sure that.
Oh, of course.
yeah,
No
well,
doubt.
that language is already in the resolutions
Now, covenant
pretty much.
amendments have to come before you. They
Yes.
cannot, we can't do that administratively. So if someone has some old subdivision map
They
with a
gotta come
covenant,
here.
gotta come here.
Right.
If they don't like what they're saying, gotta come here. If we are telling them, and they're arguing, or what, we just go to the board. So you may still see
Yes,
some.
right.
But
not-
for the bulk of them that
but
are
the-
just routine re-veg,
Right.
we'll just look at the plans, approve them,
Good.
inspect them, and life will
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah.
And this
The
one is,
applicant does everything they do now in terms of meeting with you
Yeah.
and getting your
Yeah.
yeah,
approvals.
goes to
and-
Janice's office.
Yeah, and the way we do with administrative site plans, we look at it, we make sure it complies
Yeah.
with the code, we like it, I sign off on it, we do we
Right.
make them agree that they're
And
going to
this would
comply with the
certainly, from an
conditions.
agenda standpoint,
Yeah, take
would
away-
take off 4 or 5 items, which gives us more time to discuss the more substantive stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So you would like to say to the town board, we'll wordsmith it, but just sort of say you recommend that this administrative approval for vegetation,
Re-veg
revegetation plans be
handled.
ministi-
yeah,
handled and allowed.
Yeah.
Plans
Yeah,
be
I mean,
approved, be administratively approved,
Do you
with
need
release
reasons
through the
for-
planning board if necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have
I mean,
a basic resolution written out, so I
You
just
do?
send
Yeah,
it to
there's
you.
wording already.
Yeah,
Where is
and
it?
Oh,
I can
good.
just add the
Let's
wording
read
to
it.
It's on page, it should be in the
This is
package.
add the wording.
page what, Jeff?
So do the revegetation plans have to
Page 9?
be
Yeah.
reviewed by natural
Right in the
resources
front.
also?
We,
don't
the
have-
planting, list is from them.
It's already in there.
So it's already like a
It's like
template that we use that Marty developed.
Yeah.
So it's
So many
It's like you
pages.
guys are really good at it with,
It used to be
people on
him,
this-
but they
on
have
the
like
plant
no
list.
staff, so we
So,
prefer to
but
just do it.
Staff may not
It's not
always
a
be.
resolution.
Yeah, we
As
have
educated.
GIS, we have
Do you have
natural
it,
communities identified
Okay,
by vegetation
so
type.
then you can pick from the plant list.
Yeah,
as
they
long
give
as
us a
they're all
plant
on there.
list. If we have any like special concerns, we'll pull them in, but if it's just
Can
routine.
you, let's read it.
you
He's
know.
got it.
It's basic, I didn't add any details, just in case, based on our discussion,
Can I see
we can
this?
add some more details
Gotta
to
go
it.
check.
You go.
Yeah, if they wanna appeal, this is
Janice,
staff.
I'll just need to leave.
Okay, so the first whereas, the planning board isn't considering amending, the planning board is requesting the town board to amend, right?
Okay.
So you don't amend legislation, so I would say,
Planning board.
the planning board of the town of Southampton is requesting the town board amend Town Code Chapter 33067A as it relates to the, instead of saying planning board, just say, or as it relates to the review and approval of site disturbance applications. And whereas currently, okay, that's fine. The third whereas is the planning board seeks to streamline the process by introducing an administrative review process, not administered by planning staff, just administrative review process
Okay.
for eligible site disturbance applications that meet a specific set of criteria, A.
Mm-hmm.
And the planning board provided their well,
You don't need
I
to
would
do
just
that
get rid
one.
of this whole thing
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Because
It
that'll-
doesn't even
that'll
need a
come-
whereas, it's just
No.
now therefore, be it resolved.
Planning board.
The planning board
Hereby recommend.
And
Here-
add,
yeah, hereby recommends, because you're gonna get another referral.
Right.
Right,
Recommends.
so
We're recommending change.
you're
it, and
recommending the
it'll-
change, we'll
it'll echo
institute the
back.
change and it'll echo back. The planning board hereby recommends the comments and recommendations,
It should just say the planning board hereby recommends the town board.
the town board amend 33067A.
That's it.
Administrative.
That's it.
Okay.
Town board amend.
Should I
3067A.
get on drafting something for you?
367A1.
Is the first whereas more of an intentional statement? Like, because the resolved is kind of the same as the first whereas, as it states now. Really, what we want to say is that, like, they're,
I think the
Why
second
we're-
whereas, here we go with the
Right.
renumbering. I think
Should
the
go
second
first?
whereas should be the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Right.
the
Put it
second one is
first.
the first, the third is the second,
We
One.
do
and
so.
then the first is the third.
2, 3, all right.
And then you just have a resolve, so
Right.
it goes 3, 1, 2 in the order you're looking at it, but you know what I'm
we want to
saying?
streamline the process.
Yeah,
related
here
to
is, currently
this,
the
and
code
here's how we
requires
think we
this,
wanna
you
do
wanna
it.
streamline it, you're recommending this.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Good.
Okay.
And you still want me to add a section for the relief, right? If
We'll add that to the
if
code, you don't need it
Okay,
here.
okay.
Yeah, you're good. So if that's good with you,
Yeah.
we'll take
Well,
it.
okay, you'll pay, so we're gonna adopt it.
Yeah.
All right.
As amended.
As amended, and then you'll give us a copy of how it's written, okay. So motion to adopt the report by Tom, second by George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 7 in favor, thank you very
Boy,
much.
we're getting efficient.
That was quick.
Hurry up.
Thank you.
All right.
Jeff, do you have more?
We only have 2 more,
Okay.
3 more. Quick.
We don't have to be
495
quick, it's only 4 o'clock.
It's okay, let's be quick anyway.
This is actually pretty quick. Number 4 in your packet,
Number
page
4.
21. This is,
Number 4 is 495 County Road 39, Hamlet of Tuckahoe. 495 County Road 39.
so this is just to go over some of the discussion elements regarding this pre-submission report. This is for a proposed 8,100,
There is, Jeff, there's no report in
There's
the
no page
packet,
10.
so we need reports, please.
What's in mine?
I don't have it. You have it?
Packet, page 21.
Yeah, but there's nothing.
Yeah, but there's
in
nothing there.
There's no report.
So it's just a one page,
Oh.
there's no action.
I've highlighted the sections
It's
that
coming
I've
up.
added based on our discussion at the last hearing. We don't necessarily need to go over the entire report, but I'll discuss those highlights. We discussed bringing the structure back to 30 feet where the
Okay,
applicant.
just give us
Give us a chance to
give us
get
a gist of,
paperwork out, too.
This is the
Right, it is.
project At the corner of North McGee and County Road 39. This is the ServPro structure, where an existing one-story commercial building with 3 uses
Diagonally
exists.
across from the big potato barn, remember?
Exactly,
We did
exactly.
diagonal corner.
Right.
So during the discussion, there was concern about the location, the position of the structure itself, to kind of keep in line with the Pelican Pools structure, which is 30 feet off of County Road 39. The applicant had proposed 29 feet,
And Pelican.
primarily because,
Pelican is on the other side of McGee Street. So
Correct.
it's on the
Yes.
The other corner.
west side.
On the west side.
Okay.
so we were just requesting that they move the structure back a foot to be consistent with the 30-foot front yard setback off of County Road 39 and as well as McGee Street. The other concern was to add street trees along County Road 39, as currently there are none existing. Cross-access, we discussed that a bit. The applicant believes there is some type of cross-access agreement. We'll have to research that and see if it is there. If not, then we'll have to establish some type of future cross-access agreement or easement. So I added that into the report. And there's a discussion regarding possible signs. There's an existing sign on the, at the subject site, and the applicant is requesting to put another sign on the building. If you remember, which I'll bring up for you.
Well, they're a corner lot. Are they considered a corner lot?
Yes, they are considered a corner lot.
So they can have 2 signs.
Correct. The other sign is essentially, here, I'll show you right now. Will be located right at the middle here, near the peak of the front of the structure. There's an existing sign that's off the street, standalone.
Have they submitted a sign?
They have not.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's so not the site with with that much,
Grass.
yeah, and trees all around it.
No,
And
you're
my-
absolutely right.
My question too is totally unrealistic visual, but what is that, what is the color of the building? Is it gray?
They're going for charcoal. They are utilizing the same aesthetic as the horticultural structure across the street next to the gas station, which is essentially the same aesthetic. You have the stone paneling on the
Apron.
bottom portion of the structure itself, and board and batten siding.
Okay. So they need to submit the sign colors,
Absolutely.
but as a corner, this looks like it's in the middle of a field, right?
I know.
Yes, it is a corner property, right?
With a lot of vegetation in it, too.
Yeah.
so-
Well, we're asking them, to put in some off of County Road 39. There's some existing vegetation off of North McGee Street.
Yeah.
More like
It's scruffy
scrub oak.
woods.
Yeah, it's not aesthetically appealing, but still natural, and it helps because the school is just further north from there. And you have that vacant lot at the rear of the property as well, which is owned by the school as well. So we're just adding some additional screening and protection from the road, and obviously the structure itself.
Okay.
Can I just, and maybe it's not the right time, but the addition of street trees along 39 as opposed to shrubbery or bushes or something like that, lower level and more covering?
That we have found over the years, Tom, that, that the street trees create a real presence on County Road 39 and take away from, we're never going to get shrubbery that does enough to create like an alley. It's hard enough to get people to put the street trees in. Remember Brody?
Yeah.
He would argue about a street tree. But
mean,
I think and once they come down, whether by age or whatever, nothing ever gets replaced. So-
Widening of the road.
I think
Well,
the-
that's cemetery.
There is, in traffic engineering, that street trees are dangerous.
well, that was gonna be my point, is that intersection is a trafficked is a lighted intersection. So I agree with you, if the trees might impede if you needed to get out to make a turn without a traffic light. But
So
you're
the-
you're the traffic expert.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't, if the board has kind of
Yeah,
been
no,
taking
I
this
mean, I think your
position
input-
all along the road, all along, over the years along the road, but there is some concern that street trees, if a car leaves the road and hits a tree, it's a
Oh,
lot
well,
more serious impact than if a
Oh.
car leaves the road and
Hits a bush and goes into the building?
Yeah.
I'd
Tom,
rather it
could-
hit a trunk.
Could shrubs and hedges, though, interfere with sight lines and people trying to make?
Well, you do have a corner clearance law
Correct.
in the town that you have to,
Right.
you
Is it
can't be
2
within.
feet? I think it is.
Right, right, yeah.
And-
Within the first 50 feet.
In defense of trees, there are lots of trees that have tall trunks, and then the canopy is higher.
Right.
So you're really not camouflaging or impeding a sight line below, as a bush might, or a shrub.
Right.
But we should really maybe specify some of the street trees that we're thinking about, and let's
Sure.
take a look at
Well, when-
whatever
when-
shrubs, but.
When we did the Bridgehampton traffic safety, we did put in, we took out a lot of trees that were too old and had to be taken out. The DOT recommended it, but we did replace them with.
Yeah.
And there is a specified list of
Yeah.
Of trees.
trees that are
Yeah.
recommended by the
Yeah,
DOT.
ones that the roots don't upend the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, with the full site plan application, a landscape plan is required.
Yes.
So at that stage, we could review and make recommendations as to which trees that we believe would be more appropriate, particularly this area of the town. But I think this is probably the last, I think it's the last site here that needs, that's getting a facelift, so to speak. So yeah, I think we would do well by recommending some street trees that are conducive for this site, of course.
And you checked that cross-access agreement? Just
Yes,
trying to
so
think.
there's an
the
existing
east,
dirt
right?
path or
Yeah.
road, however you want to call it. I didn't find anything for my initial review. With the help of the applicant, and we'll
Definitely,
review some Suffolk County records and see what
Auto
we
marine.
have.
This is it used to be auto upholstery.
Oh, yes, 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 it's something else.
You're talking about that dirt
Or
track
is it still?
into McGee Street, right?
No, over here,
Not sure about this one.
Okay.
and this is also
Well,
open to
Right.
both too, yeah.
That one there, that
This
was
is
gonna
something-
point out, looks like it's
No, this
both
is
things,
there.
access off County Road 39.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Is one of those the glass
Um,
place?
But I didn't see any bona fide, any
Okay, legal.
legal documents or paperwork
Up
to
further.
to classify this as a cross-access or any type of easement agreement.
So that's got to be formalized, really. I mean, the way he was describing it and you described it,
Oh,
sounds like
absolutely.
it's happening, it just has to be formalized. in
Well,
some
they
way.
didn't make the suggestion, as a board, we made a suggestion, so if it exists, then, we'll bring that up during the full site plan application stage. If it doesn't exist, then we'll require that as part of that application process.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a County Road 39 access management plan,
Mhm.
which Claire worked on a long time ago, that was adopted, I think, in 2015. I
Yes.
don't know if
I looked at it, it
that's
didn't,
identified.
no, it's
or-
not disclosed, unfortunately. As you can imagine, this area was quite different. The town's a bit different as well. And just to remind you again, this is the structure that I was talking about, the horticultural structure off of County Road 39 that they're essentially
architecture?
mimicking in terms of architecture. But yeah. I can do this for you
You're
too.
talking about Southampton Farm Supply, right? Which is actually a little bit further west.
Yes, I was curious as to what are the two properties to the east?
Let's see.
One is the auto upholstery.
Right.
That's that.
That's the upholstery place.
And then the
we
next one?
have-
And then, I know that one with the flat white roof is that tire,
There you go. This is a,
back and forth, there's
it's the
tires.
upholstery
and
place here.
Tire and wheel.
Tire,
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Is that still there, or is it,
they keep changing.
they keep changing the name of it?
Automobile.
Right.
Baconic Pest Control.
Oh, okay.
And again, as I mentioned before, this is the horticultural place. and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the, that's what you can expect as far as,
The look of it, yeah.
yes.
Oh.
Okay, that's very helpful.
You see some, there's a few trees, not many.
Yeah,
Could use it.
yeah.
There you go.
Tom, do you remember the Tom, do you remember the County Road 39 study that we spent 2 years on but never got adopted? We should take a look at.
I was gonna say, there were a handful of studies, but.
We met every week in the
Right.
downstairs.
Right. There were, well, the access management plan was folded into the overall corridor plan.
Was it?
But yeah, there were, yeah, I had a pile like this.
Yeah,
of
yeah.
Studies that didn't go forward.
Didn't move.
All right.
Jeff,
Okay.
So
we
we,
resolved the issue where it was like the 30-foot setback was to the edge of the porch versus the building? or-
right, so I reviewed the site plan again, and it is the edge of the porch that's at 30 feet. Well, he had proposed 29 feet, so that's what the issue I made. I do understand that they have some pre-existing non-conforming setbacks with the existing structure. But to be in line with Pelican Pools, who are set back 30 feet, which is, in all actuality, better setbacks than this zone would allow, which is generally 50 feet. So, you know, 1 foot shouldn't hurt them, at the very least.
And they haven't built it yet. so,
No,
I
they haven't
mean,
built it yet, yes.
Yeah, they can make the adjustment
I agree.
pretty easily.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to adopt this?
Yes.
Pre-submission report. Motion by Kate, second by Craig, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 7 in favor.
So we'll move forward to number 6, page 28 in our packet.
246.
Okay, that's 246 Scuttle Hole Road, 246 Scuttle Hole Road. Hamlet of Watermill.
Did we say 26?
28.
246.
Page 28.
All right, so we'll move forward as this loads up. This is a site disturbance application to restore a proposed 14.7% of what we're clearing on the site that was given via Chief Inspector determination, 55.7% allowable clearing based on the history of the lot. 246 Scuttle Hole Road. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Scuttle Hole, which encompasses a lot of agricultural properties and lots. But this site, through the Chief Inspector's review, he did come to that determination that they are allowed to keep their 55.7%. They are proposing to reconfigure the site, the driveway and whatnot, and are requesting to revegetate and disturb 14.74%, and restore that as well. Here is your re-veg.
Jeff, where is this on Scuttle Hole Road?
I'll bring it up so you can
Is
see
it
better.
before the golf course?
This, I know, I don't believe it's before the
By
golf
the
course.
little traffic circle?
This.
No, must be all the way at
The other end?
Correct.
East End, I think.
There was narrow there.
Oh, there's some.
Give you an idea here. And there goes Heather Pond. This is the corner of Heather Pond and Scuttle, so.
It's right by the, yeah, it's right by the
Yeah, it's way
church.
before the circle.
Across from the Lutheran church.
Say
Oh,
again?
that's that big property.
Way before the circle.
Mhm.
If you're coming off of Montauk Highway and make the left onto Scuttle Hole, you're closer to it as you head north.
Oh, you cross the railroad track, oh, I know it.
Yeah, you cross the railroad
Then
tracks.
there's Narrow Lane South.
Exactly, exactly.
Just past Narrow Lane South.
So here's Montauk Highway,
Mm-hmm.
There's a church.
and there goes the
On the
church
right?
right here. As you head north, you pass the railroad tracks, and there goes Narrow Lane South.
It backs up to Corwitz Field.
Correct. It is in the APOD. It's the reason why they're before the board, but they're also requesting to disturb and to restore 14.74%.
We normally say, we don't approve the ability to disturb.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems
Counterintuitive, right?
counterintuitive to
Yes.
the process.
Well, this is the application the applicant wanted to bring before the board. They have permits with the building department for proposed work and some, I believe, some existing structures on the property. But for them to utilize the property, and their argument is that they wanted to re-veg this portion over here, and then open up this dirt road and make it a bona fide access to the property. So if you look on the site plan here,
Was that an approved driveway on the site plan?
the driveways, even from not necessarily from a site plan standpoint, but from a building department standpoint, the driveway is fine. You can have 2 access points. It's not on the corner piece, just similar to what you would have like a U-shaped driveway. But as it exists, it's really more of a dirt road or dirt access, not really paved. And they're looking to, at the very least, pave it and make it a bona fide driveway in conjunction with their proposed addition here on the house, and this proposed garage here, which will essentially be located on the northern portion of the property.
Is this part of a subdivision
No,
It's a
this is
standalone
the Swire
house?
property.
or described property?
So the building inspector said, just trying to understand the
Yes.
pieces.
So generally,
They-
this lot would be limited to their clearing, which I believe was 35%. The inspector, they scheduled a meeting with the inspector for a determination on the clearing, which he has the authority to either reduce or reinforce the existing APOD requirements. And through his review, he granted them 55.7% of allowable clearing.
Why did he do that? What's his reasoning?
Generally speaking, they go through a historical review of the lot itself. If it's been cleared or utilized for agriculture pre-1984.
Before zoning.
Exactly, and before APOD, then the inspector would grant them more clearing, especially if that clearing has been maintained throughout the years. Now, if it somehow came back and there was some regrowth, then his review would be dependent upon that more so than what's existing. But this site hasn't really changed. Even I reviewed the aerials from 1984. It's pretty consistent with what's there today.
So it's an older house?
It's an older house for
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
It's a tough situation because if they didn't ask our permission, they just did whatever they wanted anyway, then they would be coming in.
Right.
Not for, site disturbance, they would come in
Which
for
normally
restoration
happens.
anyway.
Right, that's true.
So what,
And some of this already does exist, as far as the driveway is concerned, but, as part of their application for a proposed garage and addition, clearly, this concern came up. The concern regarding the additional clearing, and getting the chief inspector to establish their current existing clearing, in addition to this proposed clearing that they're requesting as well.
I guess my question is, I understand the chief building inspector giving them basically a predated clearing, but within the clearing currently,
Correct.
why can't they utilize that clearing? Why do they have to clear other
Do
stuff?
additional clearing.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's my
that-
problem too,
that-
right?
It's like,
you're
go,
already
go,
getting a bonus,
yeah,
just take it.
yes,
Yeah.
and go back and
Mark the
review
point.
your plans and change them to meet the
But
code.
I think we're
Not-
setting a precedent there if we say we authorize you to clear and then re-veg.
Right.
because
We've
the
actually-
vegetation is never the same as what's
Yeah,
originally
Yeah,
there. you
and
know.
we've done this before, where we've said, gone back to the applicant and said, rethink your plan,
Yeah.
and
We'll
use
cut
the
cleared
clearing
areas
that's
and
there.
then Revegetate whatever
Yeah.
else you need to.
I mean, it's like the garage isn't anywhere near the house, so
No,
Yeah,
So maybe we want to say that.
sure, no, absolutely.
What have you written up? Have you written up a report?
yeah.
What have you written, Jeff?
Should be in the packet.
Well, we've had instances
So-
where recently on Edge of Woods, we had that tennis court where we gave
Yes, I
an
remember that,
applicant
yeah.
permission to over-clear for tennis court.
Yeah, but that,
But he did off-site mitigation, which resulted in
He-
actually more clearing and higher quality vegetation.
That,
because
that
it's-
was, that was the application on Edge of Woods Road,
Yeah.
799 Edge
Yeah.
of Woods Road. And he bought
He bought off-site,
up in the Greenbelt.
right.
So generally,
So-
we could also suggest a buffer, but this area is just surrounded by farmland and not necessarily a lot of preserved space here. This might be to show you better.
So similar to,
So this is essentially where they're proposing most of their vegetation along a little bit off the front.
Well, then I think we had another application on Woodland Farm Road.
Yeah.
With,
Yep.
that's a different, it was a
well,
different one
we had
where,
Rosemary Barone's application just
yeah, with-
recently.
where they came back to us and showed us reasons why what they were suggesting
Yeah.
made sense. I think I personally think we should go, push back at the applicant and say,
Yeah.
rethink your plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Maybe they go on
But
to
I
a
mean,
work
we could
session
tell
where
them
they
that
could
there-
actually,
there's an option
speak
for
to us about
off-site
that.
mitigation.
Yes, off-site
Surprised they're not here
mitigation.
today.
yeah.
I'm sorry?
There's a possibility for off-site mitigation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Through development.
But to
rights,
take down
yeah.
some of the old vegetation there, to put in a driveway,
I would agree.
I mean, I know it's not part of a subdivision, so it's not site plan, but that's really what they're doing. They're adding to the house, they're putting in a driveway.
But to Kate's point, and I don't know if anyone else is feeling the same way, but, you know, I'm fearful that if we don't have that flexibility, or offer that flexibility, people are just gonna say, well, I'll knock the trees down, forget about going to the planning board, they're just gonna
Mhm.
decline anyway, and I'll just deal with a re-veg after the damage has
Right.
been done. I don't think we should have a rubber stamp no on these applications. I would love for applicants to come.
That's what I'm,
Here,
that's
yeah.
what I'm suggesting. I'm not
And-
saying no,
yeah.
I'm saying rethink your plan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can adjourn it.
Who is the applicant?
The applicant is Phil Slight. Excuse me, it's Bill Slight.
William Slight, he's the
Yeah,
architect.
exactly.
Yeah, I think adjourning it is the right way, because we don't want to issue a denial and
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, I think just adjourn it so they can.
Sure,
come
and he
back
may
and
have more,
explain or revisit.
No, he could probably shed some more light on the project itself and maybe some issues with feasibility.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So there's no action.
No action. Lastly, acknowledgement of a signature for final map.
I have not signed anything, just,
No, you have not. I do have the mallards up front for you, though. This is for, and forgive me with the pronunciation here.
Stavropoulos.
Stavropoulos. And this, I'll bring up the address for you. It is 2385 Montauk Highway. It's number 23 in the agenda.
Oh, yeah. 23.
It's a proposed subdivision, two commercial sites. If you're familiar with Candy Kitchen, I believe.
Yeah.
It's right off of School Street. This used to be one piece, and they proposed
divided it.
to split it
Yeah,
into
that's-
two
yeah.
lots.
yeah, this is the Candy Kitchen.
Candy
Yes,
Kitchen.
yes. There's a right-of-way and easement to the town. I believe there's town parking here at the rear, which is also part of the application. They submitted their maps. They've met all the conditions of the final approval. I reviewed it also with engineering. There's really no additional engineering requirements in addition to what was already approved and part of those conditions. So we are recommending that.
Are those the
move
maps?
forward.
Yeah.
Those are the milers, yes. Those are the maps.
Before you go?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. If you give them to me before the meeting, I come early.
Okay.
So I will do them then, so I could acknowledge that I actually did sign them.
Okay, fair enough.
And I don't know if you need a special pen.
Okay. We do need a special pen.
The Sharpie.
The Sharpie.
Yeah, which I, because
Are
of
you
my.
gonna do it now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will
okay.
do it before I leave.
Okay, so we'll
So I-
acknowledge it then,
Yes.
because Gloria will sign it now.
I promise.
Promise.
Figure out that.
Promise.
Acknowledge the promise.
Acknowledge the
And,
promise,
That is
okay?
all.
And we have one additional walk-on. Are you done?
I'm done.
Done, great, thank you. We have a walk-on, let me read this application. It has to do with the planning board's request of the town board to, regarding the battery storage. So let me just read this into the record. Whereas on January 26th, 2021, the Southampton Town Board by Resolution 132-2021 adopted various amendments to the town code in connection with the regulation of battery energy storage systems. And whereas since that time, the planning board has only recently been in the position of reviewing a submissions of such application, and whereas in connection with such review, it has become apparent to the planning board, in application of the law current in its current form, are issues of concern relative but not exclusive to placement, safety, mitigation, and technology. And whereas the planning board acknowledges that it supports the town in moving to renewable of sources of energy and the infrastructure needed to support that endeavor, and sees battery storage as one component of such goal, it likewise acknowledges that it believes a pause on the application of current law within the town code is necessary to reevaluate the law as it exists today for the purpose of addressing some of the concerns that have arisen. And whereas additionally, the planning board would ask the town support, fiscally and otherwise, to be able to take advantage of whatever advanced training can be had in connection with these systems. Now therefore be it resolved, the planning board herein requests the town board put a moratorium in place in connection with these applications and pledges to work with the town board to assist in examining the current code in light of current concerns, trends, and evolving technology. So,
Do we need a term on that moratorium, or is it just a blanket moratorium?
No, they,
You'll get,
the
just
town
like
board,
before,
yeah.
you'll get
Oh,
it
okay.
before
We'll get
you
We'll
it
come back
Okay,
to it.
thanks.
This is just to get the party process started.
Okay, that's
And you did have citing in there, I did hear that.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, placement, safety,
Placement.
mitigation, technology.
That's good, because Janice was here too.
Yeah, Janice.
Here are concerns.
So are we all in agreement with this? We're all on the same
Yes.
page?
Yes.
So I'll entertain a motion to adopt this.
Motion.
Motion by Dennis.
Second.
Second by George.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
7 in favor. So we do have this now. Do we give it to, how do we proceed with this? We
Christine
give
will
it to
take it.
I'll give
Christine?
it to planning to do whatever they want
Great.
to do, but I'll give them the wording.
Terrific, thank you so much. So we've done everything? We're going to get a revised thing on that? Okay. So,
Motion to adjourn?
motion to
See you
adjourn
at 6.
by George, Dennis, second by
I'll second.
George. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? So Gloria, you're out. Anybody else out tonight?
Yeah, who's out tonight?
Gloria is out.
Yeah,